Wonder if Shivani, can you respond and let us know if you're able to hear and see now? Hello? Hey, Josie is saying hello. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so it looks like Crystal confirmed. All right, hey, Crystal. Okay,
Hello.
there we go.
Okay,
There
I
we
see
go.
everybody now's name here.
Everybody can see us now. Awesome. And then, oh, okay, welcome. Thank you. We thought that you were with us the whole time. So
we
this is
just been talking to each other since.
yeah, yeah. But you know what? It's recorded, and when it does go live, they'll be able to catch up on it. But so yeah, so right now what we're doing is just having a discussion about the very first wine. Welcome everybody. Sorry, we thought that you were in here with us. All right, welcome Shivani, Josie, Crystal. All right, love y'all so much for being here. And right now we're talking about life lessons, stress, chaos, right? And the road to 50. So, getting to wrong and hurtful relationships, right? And just being transparent, because that's what we do at this point in time, at this level of maturity, right? Turning 49 tomorrow. You cannot blame anybody. It is decisions, right? Decisions being made to get into certain contracts and relationships, to just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And those relationships, we stay in them for long periods of time. And Keisha was just mentioning how, she was sharing wisdom about her situation where she had gained weight, didn't realize that she gained weight, and was busy being the best, virtuous woman that she was being taught to be, be the best mom, be the best wife, be the best community person, the best gardener. But she forgot about herself and just relating one to another, because I too have done that. Because we saw our foremothers do the same thing, right? They took care of children, and our parents and grandparents may have come from very large families. Keisha was saying her grandmother had 11?
10 kids,
10 children. So it's my great grandmother, Minnie Liddell, ain't no Liddell, it's Minnie Liddell, who had 11 children, with my grandmother being the first. And so being that that branch on the family tree, that's the first. That's difficult within itself when you think of family and group dynamics. Being the first of anything is difficult.
Yeah, being the first daughter is difficult because a lot of times what the mom can't do, the daughter is expected to take care of. And a lot of that stuff isn't our responsibility, but it gets put on us.
Yeah.
It's like the first daughters in the family that's born are the soldiers. They like the other parent.
Yes.
Because they'll come up to your school and get you straight. And you just as scared of them as you is your mama or your daddy.
That part.
But they had a responsibility that they didn't even know that they were supposed to be having.
Yes.
So I just feel like as women, we were taught to always settle, to always, make ourselves small. In every room, like I said before, they're trying to say we're too much, or they want to humble us, or they need to bring us down a couple of notches. We could never just be great.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that, then you had somebody in the family or outside the family jealous or something. You just trying to survive.
Who says
you didn't even think enough about yourself to even to understand why they was jealous.
Yes, and don't know. You're just a kid. You're just a child, right? And they don't understand that they're operating in a spirit of jealousy. They don't know why they don't like you. No. They don't know you. And so let's just real talk. Real talk. Those are the relationships that hurt and damage self-esteem for little girls becoming women, because then behind that jealous and envious spirit comes bullying.
Oh yeah, and it make you self-conscious of yourself, because don't develop fast. Now you fast.
Yeah.
You would go sit your fast. Like, I can't help I got big boobs and hips in the butt. Like, we kids, but they get mad at you and make you feel bad for that. And then men make you feel bad for that too as a young little girl. Because we forever had to cover up everything.
Yes.
And so it makes a woman self-conscious and always want to,
Yeah.
like, it's like, what is wrong with my body?
Nothing.
But we didn't know. It was always something. It was always something. But like you said, and then like you go to church, they trying to humble. You got to sit down and don't say nothing.
Right.
Women ain't supposed to talk. Women ain't, you just, just like a kid. They treat you like a kid. You supposed to be seen and not heard. Just do what I say.
No.
You can't talk back because then, you being a bit disrespectful. You can't have an opinion. Right. And see, that's what I'm saying, what we're going through. We actually got some freedoms. Like with my grandma, our grandmothers and great grandmothers, they couldn't vote. They couldn't buy cars. They couldn't, buy their own apartments. They couldn't escape. They couldn't leave because they didn't have the finances, nor did they have the education.
Right.
If you just got to start getting knocked up at 11, 12, 13 years old, you ain't even finished school.
That's right.
And so they taught us as much as they could. But, I mean, unfortunately, everything they taught us was kind of, what's the word I would say? It was holding. It was keeping us back from our greatness. We didn't really get to walk inside of our gifts. Well, did nobody care about your gift?
Right. and they weren't, no one, and it's not their fault because they did the best that they could. Yes. They were, get up and you go to work. You put your hand to the plow. Crystal says she remembers, and so do I, because my Aunt Bill, one of my angels up above, Crystal says somebody in her family says she remembered the seen and not heard. So you were raised on that too. Little girls are to be seen and not heard. Now that can be twofold though, right? Because if you think about it, okay, we knew what Aunt Bill meant because Aunt Bill was quite the lady. She was one of those, oh boy, you would think Aunt Bill was wealthy the way that she spoke. Oh my God. And she was an amputee, so she had one leg and she was just as dainty as she could be, hobbling around with her cane and her orthopedic leg. And she would get us together. She was beautiful. Yeah. And what she meant was she didn't want to hear us outside being big mouth, loud mouth, troublemaking little pissy tail girls.
Don't have a strong personality now.
She didn't want to hear that. Don't you be outside being loud. I don't want to hear you being loud. And she would call us in the house. And the way she would call Katrina Chantelli.
But say, come by me. Yes. That's my come by me. You be like, I don't want to come by you.
Yes.
She done got you from your head down to your ankle with that switch. I don't want to come by you.
Yes. And they think it wasn't a spanker, but she disciplined in her own way. You don't disappoint Aunt Bill. And that I'm the woman that I am today, partly because of her teaching me that. But also I had to teach myself as an adult woman in business that there's some times that I need to be seen and heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. The self-esteem, it makes you insecure. And then let's not talk about how the women weren't protected all the time.
Yeah.
And then that's where some of that jealousy comes to. So you're mad at me because a pedophile want to try and rape me. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, why y'all got me in this room? And then why do the person that assaulted you get to come around?
Right.
So think about that trauma.
Yes.
So every day, every weekend, because I don't know how y'all family was, but you didn't have to call. People just popped up on the weekend. You barbecuing, drinking, whatever they was doing. But the person that assaulted you was always there. And then you had to cover up even more than you was already covered up.
Yes.
So why aren't we protected? Why aren't this person being told that they can't come around? Because they made us think that we couldn't separate ourselves from family no matter what, because they was blood. You stay with family. And sometimes that in itself, how would I would say, is is traumatic.
It's traumatic.
I don't want to see this person, and now I'm terrified to go outside, to walk past, to go to anywhere where this person's at. I don't want to, and ain't nobody saying nothing when you walking past. He was like, saying, you know what I'm saying, making little noises like, what Why? Yeah. I don't care that that's your brother. He hurt me type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? They protect the wrong person. They protect the men and not the women at the time. I mean, they tried, but even if we did still something happen, you would get over it. It happened to me too. You know, all of us have been through it. We survived it. You see what I'm saying? And then you go on in life. That's what I'm saying. It plays a role on your self-esteem.
True.
So it's like, you know, then you get into society and you work. Don't be, like you said, in a male dominant field, you can't be better than them. Because I didn't get fired from a couple of jobs because I was a better salesperson
than the men,
or people like me more.
Yes.
You know, so now they got to bring me down a couple of notches. And if you think about it, in every situation, they got the first thing they mess with is your money. They don't want you to be independent of them. They want you to be codependent.
Right. Absolutely, sis. Absolutely. So I want to acknowledge some of the comments that we have in chat. So Crystal asked, what y'all sipping on? Very valid question, because they missed the very beginning of our whole presentation. So then I may as well start with the candle, right? Tonight's candle that was lit is the Farkandi, which means beautiful and blessed. So we started our little candle ritual first and said our affirmation. And then I introduced how to have a great wine tasting. Remember to sniff, swirl, sniff, savor, right? All of the steps to having a great experience with your wine tasting. And then wine number 1 is Bianco Veneto. This is a semi-dry wine, Crystal, and it's a white. And it's supposed to smell like green apple, white peach, jasmine, a slight almond or mineral note. And then the taste is, and I experienced that taste, it's citrusy, lemon lime, has fruit notes in it as well, a touch of herb as well. And then it pairs well with light salads with a vinaigrette. Okay. And so, and great for having candlelit conversations about building wealth, business, and other financial matters. And so then we went right into our topic. And this wine, and we talked about how cute, the packaging is and how our listeners and viewers can go ahead and order their wine. Keisha is showing the whole kit. It is so packaged. It's beautiful. Yes, it is. And so www.wealthwickswine.com. And you can order the candles, you can order wine on there. And I explain how I am a independent wine guide for a wine company, Wines for Humanity. So here we are. And then for each wine, there will be a life lesson, right? And so this one is on stillness. So it's a sip of stillness. And we were talking about the stress and chaos just leading up to, how stillness is power. So as we're growing and developing and doing the self-work, I was talking about, Keisha and I were talking about, leading up and through the 40s. 40s is usually a time of stillness. We've learned so many lessons as a teen, in our 20s, the wild days, 30s, the kind of serious days. And now we're like, okay, been there, done that. Right. And now all of my friends who have reached 50 and over tell me that on my road to 50, that I will begin to, as my, TT Denise said in her exact words, she said, TT Niece said, you will not give a fuck.
Not one.
Okay. And listen, I am starting to feel it, right? I don't.
It's real though, sis, because it's like, because I was a crash out in my younger days. I ain't gonna listen. But I do remember one thing my mother telling me before she, passed away. She was like, you're gonna have to learn how to calm down. She said, because one day something's gonna happen in your life, you're gonna need all that strength and all that energy. And when I tell you, she was, and that was the time. That was the time when I did my separation. When I was going through that, girl. But it's funny because what I noticed in people, they already triggered by you, but they can't stand to be ignored and for you not to give a damn because they can't trigger you no more. Right. So it's like they come for you even harder once you get to that stage too. Because I just be looking at them like, back in the day, I'd probably slap somebody, been cussed them out, hung up the phone. Listen, went to their house or something. Like, what was you saying again? Don't talk crazy over the phone. I'm right here now.
Right.
You know, like, I ain't got time for that. I got kids. I want my kids to be going to jail because they're gonna come with me. You know what I'm saying? And even with men, you don't have time for men that don't know who they are. You don't have time for men who don't love themselves. They're gonna put that on you. Next thing you know, you're gonna hate yourself because you ain't nothing. You ain't shit. Because they will belittle you to the utmost if they are. That was another thing I had to learn, that they be jealous. It ain't just the women, your own husband or long-term relationship you in, they could become jealous of you as well.
Yes.
And that's the worst.
It is the worst.
Because the person that you think you're supposed to spend the rest of your life with, the one you're supposed to love more than anything, inside and secretly hate you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they know that your light is so bright that if you leave, then they wouldn't have the opportunities, because you bring the opportunities. Right. So it is important that you sit still, because it ain't cute to be 50 some years old in jail either.
No, it's not. Especially not with grandchildren. Like I am a first time grandma. You know, my grandson, Eli he's now 2. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't imagine out here, because I was semi crash out too, sis. You know, you go from being, for me, I went from being, bullied at a certain point. I was a little bitty thing, I was a little thing. You know what I'm saying? Little head, down and stuff like that. And just wanted to be under the radar. I wanted to read.
Mind your business, right?
I was a little nerd, right? And I wanted to teach. I was a little teacher, a little bossy when I was with my younger sibling, my little sister, and my cousins. I was the leader. Y'all come with me. We sing and dance for Granny. I thought we was gonna have a rap group. I was that type of kid. And so you just life, other people take that as weakness, and kids can be cruel. So long story short, I experienced a lot of bullying. Yeah. A lot of bullying, and my little self-esteem was low, but yet I still had this inner strength that I'm grateful for. And so, just to reiterate, sis, in the 40s is when I figure, you know what, I'm gonna just learn how to be still. And there's with stillness, some people frown upon meditation. Everybody has their path.
See, that's gonna end too, because you ain't gonna care about what people think. But you gotta do what's best for you. If you don't like meditation, that's fine. But for me, I'm gonna go sit somewhere outside under a tree or somewhere in the sun. Exactly. Because and like I say, and reboot.
Yes.
You can call it demonic, you can call it evil, but I don't see what the difference is, because they do it in religion.
Yeah. And that's one of our great topics tonight too, And so in stillness, because I'm excited to get to our next wine and topic. Okay. But so wrapping this one up, stillness is power, right? Slowing down brings clarity. And then back to our wine. I hope you enjoyed it. Those of you who are sampling with us and have the same kit, because I found out tonight that there were 2 different kits that went out. So I'm sorry about that. Some people are sampling different than us, and that's okay too. Okay. Just follow the order. Go from white to red. You will be fine. Right. But our Bianco Veneto, with its light body and calm, balanced profile, right? To relate that wine and this candlelit conversation, invites us to pause and reflect. And that's what Keisha and I just did, and to remain still, to keep still. There's so much power in stillness. A lot of people don't know, but I've been pursuing my black belt in karate for some time now. And it's just like, for me, it's just like pursuing another college degree. I have my master's degree, and I couldn't quit. I'm not a quitter. I'm that type of person. So if I start something, I definitely see that thing all the way through, even in business. And so I started this Black Belt Leadership Academy a long time ago with my daughter. And, in and out over the years, busy, blah, blah, blah. And I recently decided to go back, and, things come back to you slowly as I'm doing all, of the different poses and everything that we do. stillness is in that. That helps calm me.
Yes.
Right. And there's, so if you know or have studied karate, even some of the activities that you do, right? We have one that's called journey. And so, when I'm confident in it, I'm gonna go outside before sunrise. And that's when you do journey, or freedom and things like that. And it just helps me stay grounded, right? So this topic has been amazing with you, sis. But I'm anxious to move on.
Yes.
So we can introduce our next wine, which is another white. It's a white wine from Austria. And again, look at this beautiful packaging. And this one is a mouthful. It is Gruner Veltliner.
Okay.
Okay. And it's an Austrian wine. Veltliner refers to the grape variety. It's a dry white wine. Okay. It has a light to medium body, so it is a little bit darker than the first sampling. Okay. And it smells, right? So when you pour,
okay,
and go through the process, swirl, sniff, taste.
And sis, it mentioned about the amount the alcohol. The first one we had was what, 11 with 11.5.
Yes,
we got it's good.
Yes, it is.
For the people who actually want to feel they wine.
Yes. and they're very, very generous with this sampling section. Very generous.
These are nice.
And so remember to swirl, right? And so when you sip, it should be a crisp citrus, apple, radish, dry mineral finish.
Okay.
This one pairs with salad, sushi, light pork and chicken. And this one says this is Austria Zippy Expressive Classic. Sounds like a go-to wine, right? Yeah. And this wine we're calling it tonight for the purpose of my 40 wine birthday podcast. We're calling wine number 2, Pour Into Purpose.
Okay.
Pour into purpose. And I got to share a fun fact, because there's an exercises, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, but I'm giving away a bottle of wine, and I'll tell you why later and how you can get it. Okay. All right. And so this one, though, fun fact, white wines are best served very cold. Okay. Chilled to highlight their bright, crisp profiles, right? In contrast, so this is a fun fact, red wines are served closer to room temperature to showcase their depth and complexity. So, and remember, there are certain meats you have with white, and there are some that you have with red that just brings out the flavor of the wine and the meat. So I love studying about wine and learning, and it is so much to know. Yes. But for the purpose of our conversation tonight, Pour Into Purpose, this awesome Wines for Humanity selection, we're talking about aligning with purpose in life, in business, in relationships. It's all about purpose. So moving from hustle and bustle, which we talked about, chaos and confusion, right? And being a crash out, to getting some wisdom and learning how to be still, in maybe 30s and 40s. And now, right, aligning with purpose. We're supposed to have a purpose-driven life, right, sis?
Yes.
So I want to share, though, real quick before we get right in, how do they get a free bottle of wine? Okay. So you actually remember in the beginning, I told you all that Miss Keisha Taylor is a life insurance expert. She is my partner, right, for the insurance agency. She is a partner, and so she runs that program. What you have to do is you have to schedule a call with her. And you have to be live. You can't be listening to the recording, 20 days from now talking about, oh, I want to get, no, the people on here with and booked and had their wine. We're not doing no last, catch up stuff. Should have been live, right? That's the benefits of joining live. But you definitely have to book an appointment and write a policy for yourself and or business.
Yes.
If you are a business owner, you're going to have to do the full program with her. So you have to schedule and do business with her, and I will deliver you your wine.
All right.
Okay. So, all right, speaking of purpose. Now, align it with purpose in life and business. So, sis, there's so much like opportunity in pursuing purpose, but it's not always easy to figure out. And sometimes we go down the wrong path and waste a lot of time doing all the wrong things. Do you think it's all a part of the grand scheme of things?
I think in finding your purpose, it kind of goes from being still into this, which I think it flows really well. But you kind of, like you said, you got to kind of know yourself and what you love. What are the things that you enjoy the most in doing? And then I feel like that's where your purpose will begin. Like, I love helping people. Mm-hmm. And I've always loved helping people, but I didn't know that I could be so powerful in the insurance industry. Because, whether it came from, like you said, cooking or just my gardening or, the thing, even with I make juices for health. I didn't know. And then the thing is I had not to be scared. We'll have gifts and we'll be scared of them. Yeah. So we have to, and it's okay if we make mistakes. Because being perfect throughout life that's too much of a challenge. So and it's not even, I wouldn't even say it was necessarily a mistake or a waste of time, but I feel like we learned what we didn't need anymore, what we weren't supposed to do. So all of it is a learning lesson, but we have to go through that in order to get to the actual purpose. We got to be like, okay, well, that didn't work. So now I got to try this, or you may have to tweak it sometimes because we're going to make mistakes because we're human people. And like I said, a lot of times we'll have a purpose that's lined up with the wrong people.
Right.
Or your purpose would be so powerful that people will try and dull your purpose, or they'll try and steal it. Mm-hmm. So now you get to thinking, because you don't have enough self-esteem, you'll be thinking that you're doing the wrong thing because these people's like, I don't think that's for you. I don't think you should do that. So that being in your purpose, you have to be around the right people as well. So being powerful around the right people and then be able to build. Because we got to be able to make some mistakes. If you don't make a mistake, you ain't gonna know what not to do next time.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So what you think?
I totally agree with you, sis. I totally agree. I was sitting here thinking, though, when you think of the pursuit of purpose, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We might not understand exactly why. And when we start thinking, right, so I'm the firm believer in universal laws. Mm-hmm. I am. And so there is the law of attraction. Right. So as above, so below. Mm-hmm. And we are our thoughts. And so many ancient texts and books, even the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. Right. Mm-hmm. True and facts. Mm-hmm. Real shit. So I think about these things in depth all the time. And so whatever experiences I had. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I am gonna be 1,000,000% transparent about something.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that I usually kept like you got to be really close to me.
Yes.
And it's not a big deal because if you know me, you know anyway. I just don't talk to you about it, especially if you're not in my inner circle.
Okay.
But and not to bash anyone because I'm past that too.
Yes.
That's a part of stillness and learning, right? Isolation brings elevation.
Yes.
And, stillness and growth. Anyway, so I'm okay with some of the things that I've done and where I've been in my past. Mm-hmm. And I understand that it helped me. So I am currently married to my high school sweetheart, my first real love, not no puppy love.
Yeah.
said, "Sis, you were a crash out." Oh man, and I mentioned bullying and things of that. And by the time I was maybe sophomore in high school, all that bullying and people thinking it was sweet, oh, that's gone out the way. And I will get with you, little bitty something, right? And my dad always said, "I'm too light to fight and thin to win. I'm gonna pick up something, I'm gonna wear that ass out." That's how he talked, right?
Yeah.
That was me. And so back to the lab here. So and that was my first real love, to the point where who
you talking about, right?
And I would show up, listen, this big, right, knee high, little short list, this big here, right? Stomping like a big dog. You would think I was 300 pounds. I'm coming over that.
See,
and then I had to with him, and we were like, he was the one. Right. And I said, we're married now, so it's not a secret. And he broke my little heart.
Yeah.
He broke my little heart. And so, and then he was a mess, to the point where he was doing all the things. Okay. All the things. And then that joker would run, let somebody even look in my little direction.
They can't take what they put out.
Woo! Sis, what did you tell me one time? Something about a teaspoon?
My grandmama said they can dish it out by the truckload, but can't take it by the teaspoon.
That, right? And then I wasn't coming for that. He answered your phone and said blah, 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 blah. Yeah. You had a girlfriend. You should have stayed your tail at home, right? The one you messed up with me for.
See.
Right? So then I'm calling myself, gonna move on. He beating up everybody, running them away, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Says, and I would be just as nuts and crazy. He worked at the grocery store up there on Silver Spring, and I would be calling up to the grocery store. Is Anthony there? Because she worked, and she worked in the office part, and I was
this job a million times acting like I was important. Like, can you help? Listen, he was working at a whole warehouse. I'm calling him like, this is an emergency. This is his mother. He need to come to the phone right now.
I used to make
sure he was at work, just to make sure he was there.
I used the baby, sis. I used the baby. That's what I did. I used Shivani said, "Speak that, Keisha." Speak that. So I would call and I would use the child to my advantage. 911, he had a pager. So anyway, let me get to the point. Back to the lab. So when I say I would cut up over that one, boy, did I cut up. And so did he. First little real love, right? And so, oh my God, we ended up being teenage parents, right? So we broke up. By the time we were 21, we were broken up, right? And I went a separate way, went and got a baby somewhere else, and so did he. Now, by the time we were 25 years old, we gonna get back together. He was still the same.
Girl.
Wasn't ready. So no, we were 24 when we got back together, and done by the time we were 25, going on 26. Like, I mean, it was worse from the first time. And I had such a temper from just hurt on top of hurt, because that's that. And you know, and I was more feisty and boy, pistol toting. Now I'm popping.
Girl, listen.
Blades and carrying.
I was a borderline alcoholic. So I started drinking. I was like, okay, cause. And this time, that's how I got addicted. That's how I got into being a pothead.
See, because you will lose your mind.
And that's why I was saying I didn't want to be. I'm too old to be going to jail. Because like, I already did a bid with you. I was already for 25 years. I ain't about to go to 25 years of life in jail or prison, because that's where I was at.
Right.
And I'm like, you're doing too much.
If you like me, we love hard. Right. This is not for play. Right. I was for real. Right.
I get real emotions.
Right. And you playing with my emotions.
I would say though, if I wouldn't have went through what I went through, because then I had to prove something to somebody. Maybe it was for the wrong reason. But I was like, oh, once we separate, I'm like, they got me fucked up. I'm about to show you what I can do. Since you my roadblock in every doggone turn I make. Girl, then when I tell you, listen, I snapped. But I was able to do more things. Like you said, your purpose. I was able to do more things once I got separated.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't a, like I said, he didn't want me to be successful, so I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't accomplish nothing. He was sabotaging it and everything. But I messed around. Listen, I got my associates, my bachelor's. I got my cooking license. I went listen, everything that I love to do. I went and got my license for. I'm like, I can show y'all better than I can tell you. So to me, it kind of pushed me into my purpose too. So sometimes pain will create your purpose.
Yes.
Yes,
yes, it does. Yes,
because look at what everything you accomplished after you was hurt and y'all broke up. You became you became the top notch woman, the top mom, the top entrepreneur, and everything because it motivates. Like for some reason, you just like, okay, I got to show you what I can do, what you done missed out on, and ain't nobody better than me. Because I'm like, who about to fill my shoes?
Right, nobody.
Right. I'm like, you ain't even did no interviews or nothing trying to replace me.
and you're not gonna succeed, Joker.
Right? But yeah, so I think kind of the reason that I got, because I don't think they realized that them hurting us we didn't even know that we was as strong as we was until we didn't have no choice. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times I didn't even know that I was able to do a lot of the things until I went through so much suffering.
Yes, sis. You are so right. Listen, listen to the comments, right? So Josie said that's the young days. And they are cracking up at us, sis. I see a lot of and exactly on here. So that means these ladies are relating. And remember the TT Denise I was telling y'all about earlier on in this podcast and in this conversation, I should say. And I said, I have an auntie and I'm asking questions. So at the time, she was still in Milwaukee and I was asking, TT, I think I was about 48, 47, 48, something like that, 46, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, pretty soon I'll be 50. And, I'm asking questions. And it was her and Johanna. And, TT had a daycare. She was working, multitasking and baking and doing all the things. And I'll always watch her, as a woman because she's the bomb, right? And so I'm looking at this lady and I'm like, man, she's 50 something years old and I'm asking questions, right? And I'm like, is it gonna be like this, TT, when I'm 50? She said, you ain't gonna give a fuck. Those were her exact words. She said that's when you age. Because I'm like, well, at 40s, in these 40s, TT, I'm learning how to settle down because she knows me, right? And she knows me. She has been in my life since I was a young woman. I was 22, right? When I met her, she said, yep, I was 22, Yep. And so how I met her, that's a topic for a whole nother day. Just know that she was instrumental in me growing as a young woman and she taught me how to be a wife.
See that? Well, yeah.
Right now, let me be real transparent here. I come from great women. My maternal line is no joke.
Right.
My mother is the best woman in the world to me. Mm-hmm. Right. She is my mother is that's my all in all, my everything. And so, she taught me. My grandmothers were my ancestors, the women that I come from, bomb.
See?
Bomb. But the only ones married were, my great-great-grandmothers, right? And I didn't see them married growing up because their husbands had passed away. And then my grandma Willa, my daddy's mama, was married, and she was a very strong woman, very strong. And so that's all I knew was to be a strong single woman. And so, meeting TT niece, my mother had been married years and years and years ago. My mama's married now, But I met her and she just watching her be a wife. Listen here. Folks think they know something about how to be a wife to some man. You don't know. I sat and I watched Denise, right? I watched her. And so when I hear her say, by the time you 50 something, you're not going to care no more. You're not going to give a fuck.
You're going to be doing all that fussing and fighting?
No, none of it. And nothing.
That. and then you get mad about that because you truly don't give a fuck. They want you to give a fuck.
Right. Nope. It ain't happening. No fucks to give from this direction. None. Right. I don't have any fucks left.
Right. How about they start getting jealous of their kids, especially if you got sons?
Yeah. No, I didn't experience that type of thing.
You giving too much attention to them. They want to be coddled. They talking about you coddling your boys. They want to be coddled.
Fine, right? Fine. And so listen, let me get to my point. I'll get all over the place.
That's
so
okay.
Good. With my purpose and passion and all of those things, that high school sweetheart, and then us trying it again, right? And so then at the time I was trying to be saved, y'all. I was on a different path back then, which was necessary. You know, TT Nee said peace is her priority.
Yes.
Very,
it really is.
It was so the path I was on back then was a part of where I am now, right? Because I still use it when I need to. But I know I also have other options. So anyway, that didn't work out, us getting back together. So long story short, I ended up marrying somebody else. And at the time, I thought that was what I needed to do. No. And if I can be 100% honest, it was probably a rebound marriage of any damn thing.
Yeah. And how long were you single? Before you
not even a year. And so he had been flirting. He was cool, but that was my homeboy, right? Literally, like, if you friends with the person, and that's it, just one of the coolest people ever.
Yeah.
But you can't marry, and you can't, no expectation. So that marriage was gonna result in a murder, and I was gonna still be here with y'all doing this podcast. So I'll catch my drift, because this ain't that, right? And so I had to get out of it, and I did. Getting out of it, in spite of all the rumors, which, by the way, as my TT told me, you're really not gonna give a fuck. I don't care what anybody thinks, because they had, folks had done conjured up their own story about she was doing it all along and blah blah blah. If I was, y'all know him, he'd have slept on y'all couch. I should have, and I should have started way before. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are accusing me of doing it, and I'd have got it, and I'd have been more happy too, because I'd have been frequently going to get it. But so don't get me started.
That's a way from stillness to purpose as well, though.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that we weren't never taught. The first thing they want you to do is get married. You're supposed to be married. If that's the thing. See, right now, it's been almost 10 years. It's been about 10 years now since I've been separated. And abstinent, but I had, like you said, it comes with being still and then driving me to my purpose. We jump from relationship to relationship. So what I saw myself doing, even in my separation, is picking the same spirit.
Yeah.
We didn't know any better. We were tracked because our lights are so strong and our aura is so bright. We attract everything, mainly people that's broken, narcissists, people with personality disorder. So I end up liking a person with damn near the same type of spirit. And so I had to get to myself. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And me getting to myself actually helped me focus on my purpose, not having no distractions, not putting all what they say, not putting men as a priority over my peace, because we don't heal. We jump right back into relationships. We don't heal. And this is the best I've ever felt about myself in like 15, 20 years.
Right.
And then they tell you crazy, and you're supposed to be with, you're supposed to have somebody man with you. You're supposed to, but it's like I wouldn't have been able to accomplish what I've accomplished right now had I jumped up back into it, because I would have dealt with the same type of person. So like you said, but at the same time, we're not taught these things though.
Right.
Especially when you go to marriage counseling and stuff, but they don't talk about that. They don't talk about it in church. They just want you to be married to some man because they want our work. They want our labor. And
that's too. Our elders and ancestors were following strict religious codes, sis. And marriage, you had to be married. It's better to marry than to burn. You don't want your children to be bastard children and all this kind of stuff.
It was all guilt tripping.
Yeah.
Because they really, at the end of the day, that's why even now to today, they get mad because we want them and not need them.
Right.
Because we don't need them. We can do all this by ourselves. And then honest to God truth, what I've learned too, is that they pin women against each other. If we would have stayed together, we would have been stronger. because we help each other out. We were there for each other, especially back in those days. You didn't have no choice. You know how strong the women was together, except for the ones that was cheating with your husband. But the other women, the other wives and other people, they worked hard together. You can. That's another thing about this I would like to say is that we have to understand and get to a point that it's okay. Like you said, if we find the right people, it's okay for help. We can do a lot more with people with the same mindset. They want to go somewhere. But they want, we can't do everything alone. But if you have another strong woman that's motivated and that's really to be encouraged, we can do a lot more in life.
Truth. And it all becomes a part of purpose. TT Denise said we forget to focus on loving ourselves, growing ourselves, and respecting ourselves. We do. We get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, we talked about that in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
They taught us they didn't teach us how to love ourselves, but everything outside of ourselves.
Right.
They don't want us to focus on ourselves because then the focus is not on them. And so then, like I was saying earlier, that then they want to bring us down a couple of notches or tell us we're too much, or or they try and humble us. And I didn't know to love myself until I realized the way I was being loved was so horrible that I couldn't even take it no more. So it took me to be in something terrible for 25 years to realize that, what about me?
Right.
And I want to say I was on the edge of probably about to die because I was in my 30s and when I tell you I was overweight, my hair was coming out, I was stressed, I had ailments and I didn't know what the hell was coming from. I was so sick and and the thing is, and I looked older. When I tell you he stole my strength, my identity, my all of my ideas. He was taking my vitality. And I didn't even know that this stuff was possible, that we don't get taught this stuff. And it's like when I left that marriage girl list and I lost weight, my hair started growing back. I started getting, now I don't even look my age. You know what I'm saying? It's like they will snatch everything from you because you give, and they're going to take. So one of our biggest things is if you're a giver, not to get in relationships with takers.
Right. That's true. Very true. And so to wrap things up, sis, purpose, right? We don't know, what the future holds. So back to it. After the first marriage, that third go round with my husband, that we did end up getting married about 6 years ago. Now, Lord, time is flying. But
good conversation.
Yeah. So man, listen, 6 years now back with him, and it hasn't been peaches and cream. We've had our ups and downs, and you read between the lines and figure that out. But we learned, because he had his path that he chose, right? And I had my path that I chose. And then we came back as mature, almost 40-year-olds that were both looking for stillness, peace, tranquility, love, and some quiet. Just after you go through war and chaos for so many years, you're looking for just tranquility and peace, right? And so we ended up back together, and we have been back together over 10 years now. And it's where we work. So speaking of purpose, right, if I had held on to our past and still held him accountable for the hurt and all of the things from back then, and he'll be the first to tell you what he was. That's what I love about us, is that we ain't, like my auntie said, I can't stress it enough, we don't give a flying fuck about what anybody thinks or what they say or how they feel. This is our life, and at the end of the day, if passion ain't meeting purpose with us, and we're not pursuing all of our own goals and dreams, and we're the chatter of other people constantly, we can't let that in. And so right now, pursuing purpose, it aligned very well, and we came back more disciplined, more mature, better in so many areas, that we were able to grow together and figure out business, strategy, finance, helping other people, both of us coaching and consulting and getting people off the ground in the different industries and areas. Who would have thought?
Yeah. And it's about healing too, because our spouses ain't always what I'm trying to say. Our spouses aren't healed sometimes either.
Right.
They still dealing with their own insecurities and their own traumas that they went through in their families. And so a lot of times men don't like to be healed. They don't want to learn nothing from women either, but they don't want to heal. They sit in it, you know. But you know, if you're dealing with an unhealed man, sometimes you're gonna go through some stuff. But we don't know. We didn't know that until, like I said, that's stuff that comes with time. And in our 20s, when nobody's trying to hear that anyway. We just wanted some good dick. Let's just keep it a buck. I just love him though. Him, that's my, but he's so fine though. You know, we wouldn't all the way listened anyway.
Listen, and don't we hold our mothers and grandmothers and aunties accountable? Why y'all didn't tell me? And I wasn't listening. They did tell me.
We was not listening. We was hard-headed. But they say our nose was wide open.
Yes. You could drive, like my, ancestors say, you could drive a truck up in there, your nose open so wide, girl.
Listen, don't let them be fine now, too, girl. Ooh. But they say you be in the bushes moving the leaves out. Like, what you doing? Look, I did some stalking my own self now. Come on.
In the daylight, with a flashlight.
That part, like, Yeah. Is that him? Riding around the block and stuff to their family house, right? All the way sprung out.
TTD said culture teaches our men not to deal with trauma.
It's true.
They do. They want to heal. It was not encouraged for men to seek counsel. They think it's weak. Yeah,
they do. That's an awesome statement, because that's everything. They got so much pressure for this masculinity. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if they know what true masculinity is, and that both men and women have masculine and feminine traits. Yeah, but they'd be called a punk or stupid or gay or something.
Yep, weak. You weak. Mm-hmm. Whew, good topic, sis. Yeah. Good topic. So moving along, right? So listen, the next one is a swirl of sisterhood.
Ooh.
All right, so now we're getting into our red selections here. Bold and rooted. This one is Hayos Baya. Hayos Baya. It's a Hungarian and bold but lyrical. It's a semi-dry. It's a red, of course, Cabernet Sauvignon, medium to full body. So it's not too light. Black cherry. So when you smell it, go through all the processes. Those of you sampling with us, go ahead and pour.
Just so y'all know, I'm feeling it too. And this one is 13.5% alcohol.
Hey, yeah, they're generous. I love this sampling kit so much. I really do.
My goodness, I
love doing this. I could do this all the time. One of my mentors, Homer Blow, I hear him on his radio show all the time. Mm-hmm. And he says, you know what? I wouldn't care if nobody was out there listening. I would still be out here talking. He said he would show up on that radio time after time talking because it's his passion.
And that's the thing that goes into our next thing with the women thing. Some of us was told we talk too much as a child. I know the hell I did, but now what I do, I talk and I teach and I educate, and but people would discourage you because they're not good communicators. So they'll tell you talk too damn much.
Yep. We
got to do better as women to come together to even encourage each other in their strength when we see it within them. Because sometimes we don't see our own strength.
We don't.
Because the introduction you gave about me, I was like, well, damn.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, I didn't put that on my own resume.
And I will send it to you, ma'am. So
but for real, it's things that we see in each other. And we have to motivate each other.
Yes. So listen. So more about our wine here. Okay. So when you pour, right, you should pick up notes of black cherry, plum, earthy spice. And don't forget to open it up, let it breathe, twirl it, and tobacco. I make a candle that would light it, and it's cigar and wine. And then I have one that's called Manifest, and it has that cedar wood smell to it. I love it. But taste. Dark berries, hint of oak, structured tannins. And we're going to talk about what tannins are in a minute. Dry finish. So it is a dry. It pairs well with grilled meats, roasted vegetables, and aged cheeses. And it's a grounded red for power talks and purpose-driven decisions. So our topic on sisterhood next, right? Um, let's get right into it, sis. Sisterhood. So, whew, where do we even start with sisterhood?
It's hard because we got to know who for us and who's against us, and that's a hard thing to figure out. Because I know I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't hang around with a lot of people, and it took me a long time to trust women.
Yeah.
But the ones that I do be around that I choose to pick, like you and and Shivani. I don't really have a lot of female friends, but it was like because I've been hurt. So I was like for a long time I was scared to get into relationships or make friends with women. Mm-hmm. But when I did start opening up more and just kind of, I had to also realize, so I take some responsibility to that too, because I had to realize later in life that we all have our own personality type as well. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I was a little controlling, a little like, no, you don't need to be doing that because I'm a Capricorn. I'm a goat. Like I'm like, what you do? You ain't making no money. So I had to, like you said, I had to learn how to be encouraging and take people for who they are. Mm-hmm. But as I got older, my discernment got stronger as well.
Okay.
So I was able to start. And then sometimes I just have to give people chances and see where they're going to go with it.
Right.
But, I value it more now than I ever have in my life because I feel like women together, like I just feel like women is a shit. I'm sorry. Because I didn't used to like to be a girl when I was growing up because of so many things that happened because of the abuse, the negativity and things like that. But I didn't realize how important and how strong women were and then how we are together as a unit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And how we can accomplish and do anything.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's something that's strong. I feel like we all should have a strong circle of women that we can depend on, go and talk to, that we can lean on, because that's going to help us. That's going to help you as you grow into that 50 stage as well. Because we all need somebody, and I feel like it's strength because we're just amazing. We do so many things. I didn't know how much talent we have. I didn't know that we were the ones, because they don't teach us this in history, that without the women, even through slavery, a lot of people wouldn't survive. We were the ones that kept the families together. Even when daddy or granddaddy was acting a damn fool, they took them stripes, they cooked them hits on the back.
Yes,
and kept that family together. And we didn't even, it took for me to be married and go through my own stuff to realize what my grandma and my mom was going through.
Yeah.
Yes. And so,
yes.
And I wish I would have had more time to be around and ask the right questions or just learn more. But I feel like it's a strength that we all, we need to come together and bond together more than we do and encourage each other more.
That's true.
So it's an important aspect of our lives. But I know women in your life, and I don't know what we'll do.
Right. I agree 100%. And I was sitting here thinking as you were sharing that I could think, right? So we're being transparent tonight. Mm-hmm. Both sides of the coin. Mm-hmm. Or, as the old folks say, there's two sides of the cross. There was the front of the cross, what you seeing in there. On the other side of that cross, it was something else going on. Mm-hmm. So when we think of friendships and sisterhood, first of all, for me, it started as a child, as a kid. And like I said, I love hard. And let me acknowledge some of the comments before I get started. Simply Charlotte says 100. Okay. And I want to know if that's my Charlotte Treehouse, Charlotte, my friend, my sister Charlotte. I want to know if that's you, Charlotte. Mm-hmm. But she said that. And then TT Nee said, sisterhood is one of the best bonds we can have when we understand the power of it. Yep. And my sister friends are amazing, and we support, uplift, and give one another space to make us accountable. That is so true.
That's important. Yes.
She says this: choose sisters that are shaking, moving, and grooving, because that leaves no room for envy, jealousy, or strife. Oh my God.
That's a quote.
Yes. Crystal said, I love my sisters. They help me build me. And she got to, that's her. That becomes a part of your tribe. So my first best friends was my little sister and my first cousins. My mom's sisters, my grandmother had 3 daughters, no sons. Rhonda, Lisa, Sally. Well, Mama, Auntie Lisa, and Auntie Sally. Because if they heard me call them their first names, I would be in so much.
Because when you start doing, I don't care how old you is, when you start doing that.
Yeah, right. And look, I'm saying good things, and I can see them heads. What? Yeah, no, we were raised right, and that's what's wrong with folk nowadays. But anyway, so my first best friend, so the 3 sisters had 2 biological children apiece. My first best friends were my sister and my 2 first cousins, Trina, Keisha, and Desiree. We called her Tiny. That we were thick as thieves. We were all we knew. You know, you think of the elements. That's the 4 of us. One of us had water, earth, air. Yep. and you met one, so you know which one is pure fire. And it takes us all to get together, my first best friends. And so I was the oldest of us all and the bossy one.
See,
and some of that they won't let me live down because I had a singing, performing. Like I said, I don't have a
that was a whole group.
I always had goals and dreams in life for me and other people. I didn't understand what I was doing. I was always wanting to play rock, paper, scissors, and teacher. I wasn't one of those little girls that wanted to play house with the baby dolls. I was too cool for them dolls. I have my Cabbage Patch Kids. She was good for sitting up on my bed in between my pillows. I wasn't the baby doll want to cook and had a fake kitchen kind of little girl. I had a chalkboard and I was telling, hey, you go over here, you go over there.
That's all right. We need them people in our lives, though.
Yes. And so those were my first best friends. And then as I got older, like pre-teens, they were still playing with baby dolls because I have them by 3 and 4 years. I'm almost 5 years older than my sister.
Okay.
And my cousins are, 3. We're about 3.5 years apart. So anyway, to get to the point here, the preteens, I met my best friend, and we're best friends to this day. We were 11 years old, going to Cash Street School. Again, I was being bossy, walking up to her. We were both bookworms and nerds and quiet girls who stuck out. It was, they tried to bully her. She had a big brother who wasn't going. Matter of fact, he started defending me and had somebody on their knees apologizing. But that's a topic for another day. That was 7th grade. It was the best. Dana has been my best friend forever, and we're still best friends. Then as an adult, I met amazing friends, right? I've got my Ronica. I've got, so many other like close tribe members because I can't let everybody close to me. When I divorced in that first lesson, right? That was a lesson. When I got a divorce from that first lesson, Crystal Tucker, she's my sister, right? But she's also become my friend over the years. I'm no longer married into her to that lesson. But the point is she became a really close part of my tribe, and I did not let her go. When I walk away from something, I'm done, right? And when I'm not entertaining nobody's foolishness, it's just who I am. I don't got time. But her, she was different. Then I met Shivani. Just networking and being out in business. I met Charlotte networking and being out in business. My Ronica, I met her working. I met Shanna networking and being out in business. Marjorie and Nicole working and being out in business. And then I met Keisha Taylor at the first Wealth, Wicks, and Wine event. Very first one before COVID, 2019 or 18. And I met you, sis. And I'm like, I bring you close and keep you because, and I'm one very much so, no new friends.
That
I don't have time for it. I be nice. I love you. I love hard. I'll help anybody. I'll give the shirt off my back. But bringing you in, I've learned lessons, the stillness, the purpose, the standing strong, the building sisterhood. And sisterhood is so important because on the flip side, there were some friends that I had to let go of And I wasn't all. Let's just call us let's keep it all the way funky, okay?
Yeah.
Growing and learning and growing, I had an attitude out of this world, and I would say whatever came to mind out of my mouth after a while about certain things to anybody. And so, and then I'm very honest. Like, did I do something to you? Yeah, you act like out and didn't care about.
You like, oh, okay, well, I'm right.
20s and 30s, and one young lady that I used to go to church with would try to clean, and she would be trouble, and I would be watching and paying attention. Girl, you run your mouth to everything that would listen, and you gonna come try to crawl your ass up over here, and she come crying about something, and I told her, hold your head up and put your shoulders back.
See.
That's not the type of friend that I am. Anybody know me? No, and the troublemaking and the, this and you outgrow.
I was very judgmental. I'm not gonna lie. I had to learn. And like you said, it was in my 40s. I had a whole talk with myself because I would judge the hell out of you. Don't play. I'd be like, you be doing too much. You too loose for me. Yes. We all had our things though. And I wasn't perfect, but I sure was. Listen, it's something that I like. What I like, I don't think I said that mattered. Like, I mean, we had to get up, we had to grow, and we have our things too. Like you said. But it is what it is. I don't regret. I can't say there's anybody that was not in my life no more I regret. But I do love the people that is. But I do love the growth that I've made. Yes. But like you said, ain't none of us perfect either, though.
No, sis. And listen, and still learning the lessons, because when we think we have, someone in that's a part of the tribe, and you know what? Perfect, example. I've got my plant here. The minute the leaves start dying, I pull them off. Okay. And it's okay to pull the dead leaves off.
Yep.
So that the rest of it, the plant can grow. And that's the lesson that I have learned. No attachments. No attachments. I respect your boundaries. And like you said earlier, having the gift of discernment, what paths to go down and what paths to stay away from now. And I had to learn that, sis. And to focus on doing the self-work, because like I said, let's keep it all the way funky, to make sure I'm not a toxic friend. I know I could be mean, selfish. Look, listen, back in the day, I would vent. It didn't matter. And I didn't realize that I was like this. I'm going through something, especially in that first lesson back in the day. I'm going through something. So somebody need to listen. I need this off me. Anybody that will, I'm just venting and venting and venting and venting. And I didn't realize that I was dumping so much. No, I didn't need to be dumping. I needed a damn therapist.
Yeah.
Since what you think? And therapy is okay. It's okay to go to therapy.
It is. We've been taught, Black people have been taught not to go to therapy. And I will say you do have to be very careful about the friends that you do choose to deal, share your things with. Because everybody is not at a place. Because like when I was in high school, I would share my hurts or what I was going through, but not knowing that I was a spiritual person and my friends wasn't, I got judged a lot too, because they hadn't been through shit. Hell, I'm 50 now, and I just had to let a friend go because you ain't been through nothing. She ain't never been married. She ain't been in no long, but she mad because I didn't want to talk to her about marriage. You told me marriage was stupid. Why would I consult you?
Right.
Like you don't understand. And she couldn't understand that I just didn't find you to be the perfect person to have certain conversations about. But what I've learned more, you had just mentioned earlier, like a few minutes ago, is boundaries. From the beginning of the broadcast to now, that's a big thing. We did not have boundaries. Nobody taught us to set boundaries, not let nobody cross those boundaries. And so I feel like we also like I said, I had to take responsibility because I talk too much sometimes to my friends about stuff I should have been talking to somebody else about, or like you said, a therapist. But we didn't always have therapists. So I wrote a lot. That's what kind of made me start writing poems and stuff, because I couldn't share I didn't see. I grew up with all boys. You had sisters around you. All I had was boys around me. That's why I was so rough.
Okay.
And so they didn't want to hear the hell I was talking about. But they hurt. If I was hurt, they'd beat somebody's ass. But it's like those wasn't the people that I could talk to. They didn't get it.
Right.
So I mean, but those boundaries are serious because if we don't have any people, not only will people dump on you, but then you don't know. You didn't know though. I don't think you did it intentionally. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you can hurt people not knowing. Because hurt people do hurt people.
Yes.
Whether people believe it or not. But sometimes people are not going through the same thing or haven't grown as you have, or is not in the place of life that you are. So they're not going to understand.
Right.
So a lot of times you're not going to get good advice from certain people.
True.
You know, but once I start setting boundaries about how people are going to talk to me, because I'm so serious about me now. Like once I learn self-love, I'll be looking at people like, who you talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't talk to me no any other type of way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do no any other things to me now. And I don't care what your title is. You could be the boss. You're not about to talk to me no any other type of way. Because if I'm not disrespecting you, don't disrespect me.
Exactly.
So like I said, we also got to know who, where. It's a lot of things that, and I feel like we're going to grow forever. It don't matter if we're 60, 70 years old. We're going to learning in life is going to be a lifelong thing. Yeah. But we do have to, like you said, we have to use those discernment with certain friends or keep certain friends for certain things. Because like we're business friends. I got friends that's not, well, I don't have no friends that's not, but I have associates of people who's not in business.
Okay.
And like if they interested in it, then I teach them about it. But I have to realize that maybe they think it's art or maybe they think it's something else. And we have an agreement or a relationship through that. We can have people that we associate with that's not like us. And we have to respect that. You know what I'm saying? So I had to learn that about myself. Because because my thing is like, you ain't trying to be in business, you ain't trying to make no money. I don't want to talk to you then. Like, you know, I was rough. You know, I was rough on people. So, but now I knew how to associate people. And sometimes you got to put people in categories. It's girls that I know that I would never talk to about my relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to know how to categorize people as well. It's not that they're bad people. That's not the level that you're on with them. You have to be able to meet them where they're at.
Yes. Yep. While we're continuing to do the self-work and be self-aware and improving ourselves, like I no longer can point the finger, you know, and my husband is the one who taught me, Anthony taught me that. He said, Shawn, when you point the finger, it's always 10 of them pointing back at you.
Yeah.
And my mom always taught me people who live in glass houses don't throw stones. Yeah. And in the old time way, when you think of our ancestors and elders and how they told us, listen, you sweep around your own damn front porch, you know, before you go sweeping around somebody else's. And how about this one? Get the beam out of your damn eye.
Well,
I guess you got to hold the profanity in there. But, you know, get the beam out of your eye so you can see. And then get the beam out of your brother or sister's eye. That, you know, so I'm learning that I still need growth and development. I don't have everything all figured out. I wasn't a perfect mom, employee, businesswoman, student, elder, grandmother, mom. And then, you know, we think we won the Mom of the Year award. No, our kids come when they get grown, they tell you exactly, hey, you didn't do this. I need that.
Yeah, and a lot of times we were growing with them. The things is that when we started having children, it didn't come with a playbook. Because every child is different, and you have to parent every child. You know, when we grew up, everybody got the same thing. It was like they didn't separate us into, okay, well, this person is, you know, a little bit more emotional. This person is strong. We all got the same thing, whether it was right or not. You know, so growing up, we have to realize that some of the things that we didn't know, we were learning ourselves too. So we made some bad parenting choices. We like you said, it was sometimes we were bad employees. It was sometimes where, you know, we was bad nieces or whatever. Yep. But at the end of the day, that is all a growth. And I don't care who you are. Every person that lived this life, whether man or woman, has to go through that. The thing is that we have to be able to be held responsible and accountable for where we're at with when people tell us. Because one thing I did hear, I remember somebody telling me once, when somebody talking about you, instead of getting so defensive, listen to what they say and see if there's some truth in it.
Okay, now that's growth right there. That is some that right there will be hard because this is your master critic because they sitting up and they talk, they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's real friends, right? So if we get back to the sisterhood,
Mm-hmm.
real friends will do that for you,
Yeah.
which is perfect segue into this last point that I want to make, because I started off talking about good friends and the awesome women that I've met and that I love along the way. But I have those that you keep close to the vest, that I keep close to the vest. And then I have some that I kind of, all right, I got love for you, mad love. I'm here if you need me. And then there's some that I just kind of, I don't know where to place you,
Right.
And so, I care about you as a woman. And if it's anything that I'm good at that I do, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get that close. I'm not. And I think earlier on in our discussion, TTD said, "No, I'm not recruiting new friends," and that's okay. And that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's okay. And so, and then you mentioned, sis, that you lose friends along the way. You
Mm-hmm.
do lose some. I've lost. Just in the past, someone I used to work for her, and I'm being 100% honest tonight, because you know what? That's where healing comes in, and that's where change and acknowledgement comes in. And sometimes even women over 50 still, you haven't learned enough life lessons, or you don't see yourself.
Some of them don't want to be held accountable for their ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of us can be the most honorary people ever.
Um,
Who you think you talking to? I'm 50. That don't mean anything. You ain't learned nothing. Because like I said, when my dad said, some young fools turn to old fools.
absolutely. Absolutely. And a fool is a fool, no matter what. So you can be an old fool, different than a young, you know what I mean? And my son, who he and I have had some emotional roller coasters, but that is my baby.
Yeah.
And being my oldest child, he has taught me so many lessons about myself. Just so many. Marquise, that's my little rebel. You know what I'm saying? And our kids do show us ourselves, but there are women who don't see themselves at all. And so I had a friend, because she was a friend for many, many years. Our kids went to the same, school over there at DLH. And I worked for her. I used to work for her, at the bank a long time ago. And we never fell out. I saw things in her that, good qualities and some not so good qualities. And I'm pretty sure she could see my highs and lows, whatever, because I'm not perfect. But still had a mutual love and respect and looked out for one another, right? So long story short, when COVID hit, I became concerned about my business. Oh my gosh, because I saw revenue take a dip. And will I be able to recover from this? Because folks were afraid. They weren't spending, they weren't meeting, they didn't want insurance, they were dropping insurance. You couldn't meet face to face. It was horrible.
Yes.
So I called on this at the time friend to say to her, hey, I'm afraid. And I first applied for a loan for one of our businesses. We didn't get declined. And it was through her organization. Okay. You don't hold that against a person, because I don't know what standards she's accountable for to her board or whoever. I don't hold that against anybody. And I just didn't try again. So then I reached her again. I said, hey, are you looking for, a consultant or whatever the case may be? And she's like, you know what? Yeah. I said, and she's like, I know you. I know what you're capable of. And I asked that lady for a job. I did. And she allowed me to be a duopreneur, and she respected the business that I was in.
Yeah.
And, she respected all of these things. I'm not even sure what happened. I know that my organization was awarded, Kyle Inc. was awarded a large grant where I was doing the same work. And now she knew about it because it was all in the same economic development space. So she's like, as a boss, I got to make a decision concerning you. So how about I give you a contract? I will be eternally grateful to her. for that. Eternally grateful, because she could have turned me, she could have thought, could have been forward thinking at the time and said, you know what, Shawn, I value our friendship too much. We're both strong personalities. I don't know how do you feel about reporting to me, which I respected her, because I reported to her in my past. Matter of fact, she's the one and only person that ever wrote me up.
See.
And my mouthpiece was always slick. So my rebuttal for that was, I ain't even got to put this on my fucking resume. Right? Because I've always been a go-getter. So me being who I am, and fast forward, there's a young lady in our office. And when I say this is past tense, who was just a couple of years younger than me, you know, cool, and there were some complaints, and I'm not a troublemaker or gossip, so I'm gonna leave out a lot of information, but there was some conversation concerning an employee, and I'm like, I'm not in management, but I'm your friend, so I'm gonna listen. Well, I also befriended that young lady, and I found value. She's amazing. I'm not a mean girl in any friendship circles that I'm a part of, any business opportunities at work. If you know, church, I'm not a mean girl. I'm not gonna get with the nasty girl clique against another girl or woman. So I would just listen to those responses, and I'm not going back, mind you, I'm not going back repeating, this is what she's saying, but I'm also in wisdom and in my 40s, that stillness. So I was sitting a long time and journal about it and learned something's not quite right here. So because I wouldn't conform to and be a part of certain things, and then I befriended who's the target.
Yeah.
So now I'm a target. That's the only sense of things that I could make. That, and then I get the grant, right? I get the grant, and then she goes, okay, I'm gonna give you a contract. Okay, thank you for the contract. I'm always gonna be appreciative of her for that. I work that contract now, you know, all of a sudden I'm experiencing some things from this woman that I never did before, not even as an employee. And I'm showing that what I'm billing for is legitimate. This is what I'm doing. And I almost felt like she didn't trust me. Like I was sending it. I'm like, the contract is the same amount of my salary. You promised me that. You know, you did. And so why would it change? So now I'm finding myself being able to work hard and be like, I'll go hard. I'm up 2 and 3 o'clock in the
morning. You do. And you late, and you stay up late.
And because their success means something to me. It really does. And so long, you know, to try to get to the point here, I'm working, and her responses to me, and plus that old discernment, that old feeling. And, you know, I like to say my angels and my ancestors don't keep anything from me.
That's it.
And that feeling, I'm like, this lady don't trust me. So me be trying to do the self-work and be mature, I send a message to her, a long email, letting her know I feel like you don't trust me, and that you think I'm making up hours when I send you my schedule. I'm an independent contractor. I'm doing things I don't have to do because listen, I've been in accounting and bookkeeping and tax and finance for a long time. I know what a contractor is and is not, and I know what you can and can't do when it comes to managing me. But yet I gave you access to my calendar for transparency so that you can see when I send you my invoice, I'm gonna need you to run me my money. Yeah. And so I felt like there was some, you know, she didn't trust me. Now, mind you, I'd have made friends with the person that I shouldn't have.
Right. Well, that she thought you shouldn't have.
That she thought I shouldn't have. And I'm not in high. We're not 21. We're not 17. And then here's the thing. People will deny facts and truth, right? And so then, long story short, she brings another young lady into the fold, into the staff, right? And this young lady is a lender. Now, this young lady done stepped over all into the shit that I'm contracted to do. But you wait a second, and then she enrolled from my training program, from my grant opportunity, because this young lady also had her own business. So she enrolled to learn how to use QuickBooks from me. Mind you, now this young lady is now in my way. She's a lender, but she's doing the things that I'm contracted to do. Okay. And when I send the invoice, I feel that you don't believe me, that I'm really working.
Right.
No matter what I do. You can even call the clients and they'll tell you, yeah, I talked her ear off on a Sunday for 2 hours. Well, I'm billing for that. This ain't personal, sugar. It's business.
Yeah.
And being the mature, seasoned businesswoman coming from banking and all the things, you know that. Right? So anyway, I'm that stillness, that age of 40, those lessons, I'm like, we're gonna have to have a conversation about this, right? All of a sudden now this lady is offering bookkeeping. She's logging into the client's accounts, doing bookkeeping and all the things that I do. So I feel like, because I've been around the block. I was raised right, but I'm from the same hood everybody else is from. I don't know why folk get it twisted. I'm from the same hood. We were all raised. I got black mama. I done been through some stuff. You know, I done dated dope dealers.
Right.
I tweed myself at one point, but it didn't work out for me. Right? I failed miserably because it wasn't for me. I cried like a baby. My uncles had to come and rescue me. I was, do it. Look, I didn't even get to bag nothing packaged out. Listen, I was out a long, long time ago, right? And I didn't know what I was doing. My uncle said, baby, I got you. Don't ever try this again.
Okay.
This is not you. Okay, so this lady, you trying to pull some wool over somebody's eyes. What y'all doing? Y'all moving foul. Okay, and I'm not trying to be long-winded, but I got a point to prove. And so these are, like I said, 40 wine, and it's my night anyway. It's my birthday. I'm gonna share. So the thing is, and I hope it helps somebody else, right? Because I'm not trying to be mean. But here's the thing. Why is she in my territory? And you're doing it all wrong. Right? And there were other little things that made me feel the way that I felt. So eventually I scaled back. I focused extremely hard on getting other contracts and doing what I know how to do best, which is bootstrap my business, put my hand to the plow and hustle. I go get it.
Yes.
Even if I can't get no sleep, it's just how I am. It's what I'm made of, right? So then eventually by fourth quarter of last year, I had to send her a message. Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. I would hate to walk away from this money because it's going to be devastating, but I have to give you a resignation.
Yeah.
And she expressed how disappointed she was and all of those things, right?
Yeah.
And so, to get to the point, here we are today, and from the day I resigned till now, I had a lot of clients on my book of business that also did business with that organization this year. They canceled. They don't want nothing to do with me. Some of them won't even talk to me. They won't respond to me. Right? Wow. It's random. And some of them knew that I helped them, that I took great and amazing care of them. And they know that they don't have a reason to be doing what they did other than following the person who holds their purse strings or be the MKE clicks and the shit that women tend to do to each other. Except I'm a brick house. You're going to have to do more than that to break and bust me down because I don't move.
Yeah.
I'm like that tree planted by the rivers of water, baby. These roots are boundary roots. I don't move that easily.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop me. You can't stop a train. And I'm not trying to be arrogant, but it's true. If I stop, it's because I want to stop.
Right.
Or the Most High God, ancestors, and spirit says stop.
Mm-hmm.
Not because your punk ass says stop. You can't control my destiny. And what is your problem? And at this point in life, speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always I text, answer the phone, speak on it. If you have an art against somebody, talk. And
say something.
What I'm gonna do
about it?
Right. And if I'm wrong, I'm gonna apologize just sincerely. Right? I'm so sorry. You right. I'm wrong. But nah, you won't have a conversation. You're trying to do all that you can to make sure that you affect my bottom line. And you were once somebody that I looked up to as a sister, a big sister. You know, and so when it comes to sisterhood, my point is I have had the highs of it and the lows of it. And at this point in time, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I have learned, if I'm not with my husband, who's my best friend, and we're constantly edifying one another. I'm with my sisters or my first cousins. I'm with my mom or, whatever family, other friends. I've had the good side of sisterhood, and I've also had, the punk ass shit.
Yeah. It's all a lesson, or it's either a blessing or a lesson. And now it ain't just with men, it's with women too. And you have female narcissists out here too. We focus on the men, but it's women out here. And like you said, at the end of the day, you were something that she admired. She just never told you. Because like you said, it's they say stuff like you should be impressed because somebody's trying to be like you, but sometimes it pisses you off. But it's like she liked your work ethic. She liked how you did stuff. You brought her business as well. And the thing is that the fact that you were leaving and cutting that off, she didn't like that because she couldn't control you. And then the thing is, you wanted me to be involved in the gossip. Let me decide who I like or I'm a grown ass woman. You don't get to tell me who I could be friends with.
Exactly, sis.
It's because you don't like her. And the thing is that we're gonna have different. Because I tell people, and I heard somebody say it too. Believe what somebody told you about me that I was mean, because depending on how they did me, I probably was mean to them. I probably was an asshole to them because what did you do to me? Yes. Everybody don't get the same version of me. Yes. So I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like more so she wanted to keep you captive, and you're not a captive type of person. You was there for a reason, and sometimes you was there for for a short time, not a long time. It wasn't meant for you to be there longer than God wanted you to be. But like I said, when people can't control what you do. And what we talked about earlier, when people try and break you down and humble you, the first thing they mess with is your money.
Yeah. Or in your top, trying to play the mind games. And listen, you don't pay rent to be in there. I've been through too much, and a woman, and you another.
We're not talking about that.
You another chick? You think you got what it takes to be there? Listen,
and they don't understand. We'd have been with the top narcissists. We'd have been with the most converted narcissists and everything else, and then survive. You think a woman is about to come and play with my head? Think you about to win if you don't stop playing with me?
Yes.
Girl, you ain't even qualified to even play this game and win.
Right. And
if this already.
And if this was 21, 22, even 33-year-old Chantel Parr, I would have choke slammed you. By now, I'd have been to CUA. What was that? And listen, 2 pounds soaking wet. They're the worst ones, the kind that think, they got little people syndrome. I had little people syndrome.
The bigger they is, the harder they fall.
Absolutely. Right. And so, was it hurtful? Absolutely it was. Because to this day, I thought she was one of the greatest women that I ever. And I saw her do I saw her selfish qualities. I saw how she put herself first. I saw how she would sabotage another person. I saw that she could be a mean girl and a bully, over the age of 50, I saw all of that, but I thought she wouldn't do it to me. I don't know why I thought I was so special.
Because you are special. That's the whole thing. The thing is that she's the type of person who is going to do whatever it takes to make it, rather no matter whose toes she got to step on or who she got to hurt. But the thing that we have to realize in life too, as we grow and become mature, is that how you are with somebody don't mean that's how they're going to be with somebody.
Right.
We can't expect the same from other people that's in us. She didn't have what you had inside of you. That y'all different. She didn't have that same aura or energy. Yep. And like you said, when a person is what that quote say about when a person show you who they are, believe them. She was always like that. Yes. We just you just hoping. You used her and she used you for what y'all needed, and then you got out of there. That's it.
All is well, it ends okay.
There you go.
Know? And it is what it is. And lessons about sisterhood going, on my road to 50. Listen, I hold dear those who are there still, close and on the up and up and honest and transparent, allows me to be me, loves me for me. Speaking of sisterhood, I wanted to mention this before we move on. I appreciate you and Shivani and my mom, right? Mm-hmm. And then your brother and his beautiful wife. And your baby boy just making my birthday, my pre-birthday weekend. So those of you who are with us and listening, Keisha and Shivani actually, and for me, I'm a simple kind of woman. Like, it doesn't take much. And so, yeah, we could have, anything. I just love, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm all grateful. Like, Keisha has this beautiful space at her house. And she put a table, she barbecued. It doesn't have to be this grand, big old shebang. A duck off with a nice cigar and some wine and music and friends and cake and gifts. Like, I felt, I've been talking about it every day. And to find out, my mama called me. She,
yeah, she's the culprit.
She called me today. Mama's on a cruise, enjoying a cruise, and she found a way to reach me just to sing happy birthday early because she won't be able to call me tomorrow and let me know. Yeah, I knew about it. I appreciate y'all so very much, and that's sisterhood to me. Mm-hmm. And I love so hard that what you do for me, I'm trying to top it when it's your time.
You and Shivani is enough. Y'all don't realize that, first of all, Shivani is the reason that I know you. She's the one that brought me to your event. Okay. But the thing is that I was down, like I said, I was down and struggling for at least about 5 or 6 years trying to get on my feet after my separation.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had successful people around me, successful women, also encouraged me to stay up on top of my game, because I could have very well just gave up and gave in and just be like, I don't even, because I gave a lot of my life, people don't realize how much time, you can't get that time back. And I was in one of the worst places that I ever been. Like, remember I tell you, my mother would say, someday you're going to need all that energy that you sit up here doing all that fussing about, you're going to need it one day. And that was the time that I needed it because I wanted to give up. My pride was hurt. Nobody talked to me about empty nester. My kids had left. I was separated after a 25-year divorce. I was living in a little ass apartment at the same size I had when I moved out at 19. I was dealing with my ego and my pride because I'm just trying to figure out, I'm like, did I wrong somebody? How did I get here? Because I was at one of the lowest places in my life, but y'all was blessing me left and right. And you were the person with all the knowledge and stuff that I had. Everybody else was intimidated. They didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want to help me. You gave me my chance. You believed in me and you allowed me to come into the agency and start, at least trying to do what I could. So y'all done did more for me. I just didn't have no money. I couldn't do nothing but get a card or something. And so, when I got a chance to make a little bit of money, that was just my way of being able to show my appreciation, how much I love y'all and give back to y'all, because y'all was, like I said, and I didn't know you. I didn't know if I could trust you. I didn't know anything, but I knew your spirit. Me and your spirit connected instantly. And so I just wanted to give back to y'all like y'all was giving to me. Because y'all looked out for me. Y'all was giving me gifts on my birthday and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, y'all birthdays came around. Y'all don't understand how horrible it felt for me not to be able to do something. Like, I was just like, I was feeling bad. Like, I'm like, I ain't got no money. I can't do nothing. There was a moment that I was walking to work. I was too prideful to catch the damn bus. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I know you don't like a lot of stuff, like, but she gonna get something this year, goddamn it. Like, you know, and that was the same way I felt about Shivani.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I met Crystal. Like, so people, we don't realize with just our essence and our, you know, like I said, the sisterhood, we don't realize that us just being around, being good people, what it does to people, what, you know, how it make them feel. And then the thing is, y'all got me on my feet. I told you I didn't want to be the broke friend forever, goddamn. And I was like, I can't, you know, so I had to keep it moving. I'm like, everybody, because Shivani do like 7 different things. You guys, like you said, you a multi-business person and everything. And here I am. I was just like, dang. I felt like shit, to be honest, because I didn't understand what happened. but then my son was like, oh, we started here. We started from the top. Now we're here. I was like, oh, he didn't realize how much of a dagger that was. I wasn't used to being, regardless of what people say, I wasn't used to being that chick. I didn't come because I'm a hard worker too. And I'm like, how the hell did I end up in the hood with no motherfucking car, barely got a job? And then I had to go work for like $8.25, $9.25. I'm like, I ain't made that shit since I was 17.
Yeah. Woo.
It was rough since I'm like, my son, listen. And so I just wanted to appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? So sisterhood means a lot to me because you just really never know who's going to come in your life and make a difference.
Yes.
And y'all made a big difference for me. So that was another thing why I wanted to do something special for you too. So just so you know.
Well, thank you and much appreciated. And look, my glass is now empty, so that tells me it's time for us to go on to the next wine. Okay. But you know, here's to real sisterhood. To wrap this topic up, right? And there will be people who come and go. I respect it. I understand it. But sisterhood is so important for us. And we are in a society where, you know, not all men. I don't want to be the man basher. Right. Because I love beautiful Black men. And I want them to be well. I want them to be okay. I want them to succeed. I want them to have the families, the love, the healing, all the things that they deserve. Because if we go back to slavery, Jim Crow, and all of that, it was a target on Black men, turn their women against them.
Well, they were so jealous. They're still jealous of them. They does it for many reasons. And that's why when we be having our conversations, I'm like, I know our men have a problem. They need to work on some stuff and they need some healing and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they're still the stronger genetic gene.
Yes, they are.
And I can't go to the less dominant gene. I'm sorry. Like I'm gonna work with you. I'd rather work with one of my brothers than move over to another race. I'm saying that's just me and my personal, but we ain't gonna get into that tonight. We're gonna get into that tonight. But you know what I'm saying? And I think that's our thing. We blame ourselves, but God made us the nurturers, you know what I'm saying, of the male and female species or whatever. So in some ways, we just want to help them do better. I don't feel like it's a bad thing it's not our fault. We can't keep blaming ourselves for getting in relationships. Sometimes I guess, but we really are designed to help them.
Right.
Yes. Because the way they teaching us is wrong. We're truly their protectors. We're the ones that cover them.
Yes.
But it's like they walk outside of they walk from under our umbrella and start getting into different things. And that's where all their problems come in. And they got somebody constantly pulling them from us, you know what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of problems come in. But we do have a bigger responsibility with our young men and our husbands. It's just that they got to be willing to, you know, to listen.
Right. Agreed, sis. And look, here's the sisterhood.
All right.
Right, maybe be great sisters, have great sisters, and love our sisters. All right, I got a fun fact about wine, and I wanted to acknowledge my niece Chrissy B, because she in here, y'all. My little niece is the bomb. She's a songwriter. She sings, she writes, like
yes.
And she can dance, and she's beautiful. And yes, she was there for my pre-birthday celebration with my friends, and she shows up. And I love you, Christina and Dion. Those are my nieces. All right. So fun fact about wine. I want to share really quick. So why some wines aren't vegan, right? So we're thinking grapes and wines are. So listen, fun fact, during the winemaking process, wine is often clarified and stabilized through a process called fining.
Okay.
And I'm going to learn. I am going to learn more about wine and how to make it. I want my own brand.
Company. Yes.
So this helps remove unwanted particles like proteins, tannins, and yeast that can make wine cloudy or affect taste and texture. So to do this, winemakers use animal-derived fining agents like, I don't even know what this is, but isinglass made from fish bladders.
Oh.
Gelatin, which derives from bones, animal skin and bones. Egg whites, right, which is commonly used with red wines. With casein, which is supposed to be a milk protein. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I know one of my master critics will get on there and say something. And chitosan, derived from shellfish. While these substances are usually filtered out during bottling, the wine is still considered non-vegan. So because animal products were used in the process. So everybody might think, oh, wine is safe. I'm vegan. Better do a little research.
I didn't know none of that stuff was in the wine. That's definitely a fact. I mean, that's interesting because like you said, I just thought it was grapes.
Yep.
I mean, I knew enough. I knew a little bit about yeast because my dad used to try and make it. Well, he made some, when they back in the days. But I didn't know all that stuff was used to make the. Is that just the red wine? Or?
That's all wine. That's any wine.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep. All right, we're moving along, y'all. So wine number 4 is another red. I don't want to prolong it, so we're gonna move on. So this wine is an Italian wine. It's elegant and full bodied. And if you take a look at the color and then you open it, probably the texture. This wine is a mouthful. It's a mouthful. So it is pronounced Salice Salente. Salice Salente. Wait a minute, let me say that over. Salice Salentino.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Salice, she's getting tongue tied.
That's all right.
Salice Salentino.
Okay.
Right, Salice Salentino. So again, this is an Italian, elegant and full body. It is a red, Italy, medium body, semi-dry. So remember, we are exploring the dries tonight. After you swirl and you sniff it, it should be ripe cherry, dark plum, dried herbs, and a subtle leather should be the scents that you pick up. When you taste, you should taste a balanced sweetness with gentle tannins and notes of blackberry and spice. And it pairs well with pasta, grilled meats, pizza, aged cheeses. Okay. So this one is smooth and soulful. It's a semi-dry red that bridges bold flavor with an easy finish, ideal for heartfelt, relaxed moments. Okay. Just more wine facts. So what are tannins? Tannins are natural compounds. So with red wines, you will hear a lot about tannins. They're a natural compound in grape seeds. It's seeds, skins, stems, and oak barrel where it's soaked. And so they taste strong but feel drying or puckering in the mouth. So the more bitter, the stronger the tannins are. It's like strong tea. That bitterness that some people don't like about dry wine. And mostly found in red, like the Cabernet, and they add structure and help wines age. They pair, so tannins even pair with cheese, steak, or chocolate to soften grip and balance flavor. So just more wine facts. Another fun fact before we get into a heated topic is the legs of a wine. So as I was learning, I had, someone at my previous company tell me, pay attention to how your wine runs down the glass. So if you tilt it, pay attention to that. But then I learned from just doing some research that the legs of a wine and how it drips down the glass are not a sign of quality.
Oh.
So that might be, if you hear someone share that type of information, maybe not, because it's a sign of just alcohol and sugar levels.
Mm. Okay.
Right, basically. So, life lesson number 4: share a setback and how you bounce back. Is how we're talking about resilience going on right now.
Okay.
The resilience of mature women in life and in business. And so I want to encourage those who are still hanging in there with me. I know it's getting pretty late, and we have to work. It's a Wednesday night after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's gonna, either shut down or not be a part of the conversation anymore. It's okay. It's recorded. You can always pick up where you left off. And thank you for joining us in the first place. But drop in the chat some comeback moments that you're proud of, if you care to share, and I will make sure I mention them. But going forward, just talking about resilience and bouncing back, that is something, as we've been talking about all night, sis, that women just is something that we just absolutely have to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can't sit and stew. And I heard someone else say stew in uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on in the world now where it's sparking a lot of outrage and fear. We do not know what tomorrow may or may not bring. It's a tough time right now. It truly is. And folks are afraid of the current administration.
Yes.
What executive order is coming out tomorrow with strike of a pen that's gonna be harmful towards any minority, any woman, any person that's of the LGBTQ or whatever groups. Like, come on, what can we get past?
Right. And then the computer's taking up, or machines taking up everything.
Yeah.
And just about every career at this point, they're gonna have automation, everything in a minute.
Yep.
They even trying to have people barber like machines cutting people hair and doing eye exams and all type of stuff.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's a lot on top of everything else. Life happens. Then we have these intentional changes. Like, who on earth intentionally sabotages another race of people?
Somebody that's jealous, and then they not a human. They not of the human race. They we don't know who they is, but what we do know is they hate us. And my thing is you have to really hate yourself to go through all of these ways to keep us down in so many areas of our lives. Like, you really got to hate who you are, because us as people, as Black people, don't go out our way to try to make sure that nobody else in no other culture does bad.
Right.
We just not. I'm not saying it's not in some of us, but it's just not something that we in history. Because if that was the case, we would have never let them on our land.
Yeah.
To even be able to get enslaved in the first place. We just didn't. I've never been jealous of another race of people. Like, I didn't never care about their hair. I didn't never care about their food they eat, where they lived at. We were just trying to learn. They didn't even really teach us really about that, even in history class.
No.
And then we didn't have, a lot of those cultures didn't even grow up in our area. So, but it was just amazing to me, even since I've been a young kid. I'm like, what did we do for people to hate us this much?
Right. And
how you hate yourself so much that you're so obsessed with somebody else?
I saw the movie Sinners, which it was all inspiring. That movie was profound.
I loved it. I gotta see it again.
Yep. There's so much symbolism, messages. It just amazing. That movie was amazing, and it meant so much. And then during this time, the Most High always gives us a prophet or a leader in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So how about with the heart of this racism, this systemic racism and flat out racism at its best, at Super Bowl, we get someone as unique and powerful as Kendrick Lamar,
yes,
on a worldwide platform, the basic national platform, okay, but it's seen worldwide because everybody is looking at the United States. What are they doing? What are they, because we lead in so many areas, and this man of color and of heritage, my people, on stage, they not like us, and clearly showing with flags everywhere with different messages, right time with the wrong guy.
And I think that I really feel like things do skip a generation. But I do really feel like our youth are going to save this world. They're the ones that's going to step up, because even during voting and everything, the amount of college kids, it never in the history have you known that many college kids. I know when I was in high school, and I didn't care nothing about no politics, okay? I didn't care about none of that. No. And they came out in droves to vote. And how you seen all our youth, our young men and women out here talking, protesting, and doing everything. They were serious too. Yes. And it's like we wasn't that generation. I wasn't that generation. The people that I knew we wasn't doing all that. We wasn't fighting for equality. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We were just trying to not get our gym shoes taken or our chain snatched off, type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Which is a part of that systemic racism, sis. Listen, Anthony, my husband, is into certain things, and I sit and I watch, because being a good wife, I want to know what interests you, and he loves people, but he has a love for culture, urban culture, and Black people. He loves and it's okay to love your own people. We were taught to hate each other. We sold each other into captivity in the first place, because, others coming to the coast, on shorelines, waving a Bible and holding a cross, meanwhile giving us their version of what we should be doing for salvation, and teaching us that heaven is in the sky, while they still heaven on earth, our minerals, our land, our dignity, our respect, and then to turn around later on in life and tell us basically, shut the fuck up, and wham, you're always a victim.
We don't want to hear about it, right?
Yep. I get up and work hard every day, get up and go to work, no handouts, no entitlement programs.
But they the ones that got the most handouts. They the ones that hate going to work. If you go work with the predominantly white people, they complain all the time, and they do more standing around talking. I can't even come and talk to you for 5 minutes. Why it's time to get to work? Why you stand there? But they've been sitting there 20 minutes. They don't like to work. And the thing is, America was built off the backs of indigenous, Black, and melanated people. Yes. So they haven't worked hard for a lot of stuff. That's why they're mad, because they want to go back to an easier life where we did everything. They wouldn't even have half of the things, the technology, the trains, half the stuff. It wasn't even for us.
No.
So how you gonna lie to me? You gonna strip us of everything, steal all our stuff, and then say that we lazy?
Yes. And then when we start to evolve as a people, as an individual, as families, as a community, as a culture, you change the game. You change the rules so that we no longer qualify.
But then they didn't change it. I told my dad years ago, they didn't change and move the goalpost so far now that their children aren't reaching the goal, because they're so irritated. Because when you got a medical school in the whole 2004, 2003, 2005 graduating, the whole class, where they do that at? They not doing that in none of these white Ivy League colleges. They not graduating. They not the whole class.
Right.
We're doing things that's amazing, and now they're trying to just take away all the degrees and stuff, because their children, they getting the degrees, but they ain't learn shit.
Ain't learned nothing.
They don't know nothing. And then come to find out, half these doctors and stuff, they ain't even had no degrees, or they don't even know what they're doing. So y'all want people that's not even qualified to be working on us in the health field, working on us as far as our glasses, our eyes, and our seeing, all this stuff, and they're not qualified to do it. Most of them would have failed out of schools. Their parents wouldn't have either paid, or if they were just their color. Mm-hmm. You got us actually going to school and learning, graduating with honors, being valedictorian, and then you got the audacity to say you don't want to come. We don't want you in our practices anyway. Go get killed by your own doctors. Black people You can't find a whole lot of black doctors, a whole lot of black dentists and stuff like that. Black people who help black people live longer. They're killing us. And then the thing is, they still going off of something that was tested on a white man that was 5'6".
Right.
So we don't even know what our real numbers is supposed to be as far as health. We don't know what our real numbers is as far as our height or what our blood pressure really supposed to be at or anything. They just claiming us obese and y'all skinny. Y'all talking about how obese it is. You was about to die. You hell. But you gonna tell us we unhealthy? Come make it make sense. Cause don't nobody want to walk around looking like y'all ribs showing and shit.
Right.
You find that shit sexy. Who?
No.
And then they get mad if you go to the doctor, like, I don't want to be that skinny. They be looking at you like something wrong. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You don't walk around being a whole goddamn skeleton. They got no strength or nothing, eating salad. I went to school. I raised my kids for 10 years out there with them white people. These motherfuckers walking around, no tomatoes, no cucumber, that's salad.
Oh, man.
That's damn lettuce. Like half their kids was in the hospital for being anorexic.
Oh, man.
Like the thing, and then y'all want to teach us how you gonna tell us how to bathe, and we have to teach y'all how to bathe. Y'all still don't use towels to this day.
Right. And how about acknowledging, right? It's about mutual respect. It is about mutual respect for another person's way, and if God, the great spirit, the creator of all things, right? God created everybody. Who are we to try to say who's the better race and then try to kill off and cause demise for other races? No, we are
They're not of God.
And it's hard.
They're not of God. That's the thing. The biggest lie and conspiracy they ever told us is that we're all the same. That shit is a fucking. I think they came from some goddamn portal, some goddamn where, because we still can't even understand how the fuck they ended up in the Caucasus Mountains. So did these motherfuckers, like, how did y'all get here?
What's okay? All right, sis.
But everything started out black. From all the history that you, regardless of where you go, everything was black. If you go all the way back to space, it's black matter. Everything, we actually used to be purple. We actually didn't start changing color until we start changing atmosphere and start eating certain food. Like if everything was black and black matter, where the fuck they come from? Now we know it's other universes and shit. There's no way that's what my thing is. You die at 50, 55 years old and you burn the fuck up in the sun. You're not indigenous to this fucking land. Where the fuck did you come from?
Well, here's my thing. Here's my question. And that being a mystery within itself, right? Like, just like, how did the pyramids get built? Like technology, like all that time.
We had giants back in the days.
Why are the noses missing off of the pyramids in Egypt? Like, we can't erase people of color. People of color were here from the very beginning. We were here from the very absolute beginning, and a lot of inventions, a lot of, what we're using every day when we stop at the stop sign, when we stop at the stop light, when we use certain things in the house. Black people invented it. And then this nation built on the backs of enslaved people. And listen, it was a long time ago. You guys weren't the only ones who went through this and went through that. Wow, that's the truth. Other races, other people, whatever, they went through things, right? But let's talk about it. Whites enslaved other whites. No, what do you call that? Indentured service. It was a difference. You weren't whipping, putting each other. Tell me.
They was killing each other before they started. They just got tired of killing each other. They started fucking with us.
Well, the thing is because they told, well, you guys weren't the only slave. No, if you working for somebody, you living with them, and then they put you in a bad contract or whatever the case may be, that's different. You can't.
White people can't even be a slave. They can't even stand the heat.
What sis? Listen,
they definitely weren't gonna be able to stand no whip.
Here's the thing. The hurt, the pain, let's just focus on the word pain. that's in our DNA from our ancestors all the way forward from that. And then the generational curses that come from that come from them. You know, the massa in the slave quarters raping those young women, forcing them to sleep with them. You're my property, it's my right. You taking ass that you shouldn't be taking because she only 12, she only 13, she only 14. You stripped her of her innocence. You put, you know, mixed babies in her, and those children, you didn't even acknowledge them as your own. They had to go out and work in the house serving. You are in the daggum field. Those are the things, and our mothers and our fathers turn their women against them.
That's why we at where we at now. That's why I try not to give up on our black men, because you still got granddaddies out here teaching them ways of the white man.
Yes.
And so you still like, come on now, it's 2025 and y'all still talking about, well, women ain't supposed to, and they still trying to change. They trying to make it a law that they can start marrying 12-year-olds.
No.
They're trying to do.
Not. Absolutely
but
not.
You know that the white people and these perverted, and like I said, most of these perverted black men, you know what I'm saying? Because like you said, some people who people who got victimized become the person that's do it too.
Yes.
So some of the people that got raped become the rapers.
Yes.
And that's just psychology.
Yeah. And pain begets pain.
Because there's too many. I mean, I can't say that we didn't have no gay black people, because you know, like I said, everything was black at one point.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's also some black people, because really, if you go back to the Bible and you really think about it, everybody was black. It wasn't no white people. So that he was talking about other black folk up in there too. So we did do some weird shit. But tell me how we went around from being half-ass naked, walking around with no rape or abuse, to everybody. You know what I'm saying? To you being wrapped up like a mummy, like that's gonna stop a man from wanting you.
I don't know.
It became so over-sexualized.
Right.
Over-sexualized because of that. I will say this. I feel like when we did become slaves, they put that spirit, that perversion spirit in our bloodline.
Yeah.
Because the uncles start fucking on the people, they own sisters and cousins and stuff like that.
Don't know.
That's not something we come from.
Exactly, and the question will always be, what is that? Where does, and it's hurt, right? And the reason, like, back to, you know, the point at the topic at hand, is the things that we experience in life, right? And again, I gotta remind, this is my birthday episode, you know, thanks for being here, right? 41. This is my 49th year, going into age 50, and let's talk about it. These are things I've seen, some things I've experienced, some things I have questions about, and I have to have the liberty, the space, and the freedom to raise questions. I have a right to ask questions. I have a right to be concerned about myself as a woman, all women, races of women, grandkids. I don't care, white women, black women, Asian women, Latino women, Arabic women, African women, Indian women, Native American women, Chinese. I don't care. There's trauma. And that trauma stems from, and it comes from somewhere. And we get so wrapped up and caught up in, there's so much sexual abuse that has happened. And then, just not to get back on that, because we're past those topics, but having resilience and how to move forward in life and excel in life and achieve goals and dreams in life when there's constant obstacles, right? Who tells a woman what to do with her own body? You can or can't have an abortion. It's murder. Meanwhile, have the children, have all the children, have them all.
That's right.
And we're not going to help you with them. Don't know.
How about most of them, they got pregnant, they got raped, but that's not a crime. But not wanting it is the crime. I feel like at some point they're going to have women locked up in the basement somewhere.
No.
Because they need to be able to have kids and save their generation. And if I can't have an abortion, if I can't, and then you're gonna monitor me while I'm pregnant so I don't have a miscarriage, how you gonna do that? And then if I go to jail because I didn't lost the baby, the only way you're gonna really watch a woman is having her locked up somewhere.
Yep.
And then the thing is, they already look how many women and children is already coming up missing.
It's coming.
They won't even put the true amount of people that's gone missing on the news because they don't want they know. And then half the cops, the lawyers, the people that got these titles is the ones that's involved. Mm-hmm. So you mean to tell me they can find Bin Laden in the middle of the goddamn desert, but you can't find some child traffickers right here in the United States?
Yes.
Don't play with me. But see, that's the thing in school. They made sure that they didn't teach critical thinking, so you wouldn't ask them type of questions. Mm-hmm. And that they just want you to listen to whatever they tell you and believe it. And so now that we raise our children different, they're starting to ask these questions. They're not scared to look you in your eye. They ain't scared of your little punk ass guns. They got one too. And then you done made the world so bad that they don't have anything. So they don't feel like they have nothing to lose. So them are the most dangerous people.
Is it?
So yes. Our kids do not give a fuck. They stopped giving a fuck a long time ago. Remember I told you, they say anytime you can't even stop some 13-year-olds from stealing cars.
Right.
They don't need to be police officers.
They don't. They do not. And how about police officers who can be bullies? Now, not all officers, because I know some amazing officers in our city, but some can be bullies. They start off talking to you harsh, talking to you like you're not a human, pulling you over, driving while black. These things happen. I have a son. I have a beautiful black son.
Yes.
And it's my baby. And he means something to me. I have a daughter, my beautiful, educated, talented.
Yes.
My baby, right? Who gave me a grandson. Mm-hmm. So when I hear all of the things that's going on in the world, talk about resilience, sis. Yes. Talk about being resilient. It's hard not to stress out and worry and be walking around calling our own names out crazy, walking up and down the street. This stuff, all of what we're faced with. And then how about signing orders in that, stop and frisk? You know that's targeted towards the black and brown community.
How about this? They just ain't pouring. They're not pouring drugs in the neighborhood no more. They're giving opioids to our under. So you mean to tell me my son can't go buy no cigarettes till he's 18 or 21, whatever the damn. 21. They can't buy alcohol till they're 21. They all can't do all this stuff, but the doctor can prescribe them an opioid. Why is not an age limit on the damn? Because we didn't take opioids when we were kids, and we healed up just fine. What the fuck kind of injuries we got now that a damn aspirin or Advil can't heal? Like, because that's all we got. They never gave us no hard drugs like that to heal a broken elbow or nothing. Mm-mm. Why are y'all giving these kids heroin?
Right.
So now y'all just prescribing. Right now y'all just prescribing drugs to our underage kids. And then what happened to the war on drugs?
What happened to it? All drugs. All drugs. And
so my thing is, you out here making a big old fuss about some goddamn weed, a plant that could be oregano, and you making that motherfucking illegal. But you got motherfucking cigarettes, alcohol, heroin, this fentanyl, and all this new shit. You worried about motherfucking weed,
right?
You worried about an herb.
You worried about an herb, something that comes from the earth that was created by the Most High. Not by us.
Okay, with prescribing all this other shit, they got chemicals in it. It causes motherfucking addictions and everything else. Why is it illegal? Why is it not illegal for these doctors to prescribe our kids that's under 21 years old such hard narcotic?
Yep.
It doesn't make sense.
Yep. And let's talk about the boxes that showed up in our communities back in the 70s and 80s, whenever we had a leader.
Oh, yeah. They didn't.
Why do we get to, on a national and worldwide level, witness this person being murdered, that something happened to him? It's to keep us in fear. We will never have a leader, because who wants to step up knowing, they're going to end up dead.
Well, we had different own people against them. They didn't care about dying back in the day because everybody was in the same situation. Somebody had to do it. Nowadays, people worried about their welfare and their motherfucking Social Security and everything else. They didn't have all that shit back then. It's like, and then I feel like a lot of people, we got a bunch of cowards. And then they already said, but they don't like the fact when black people unite anyway. They can't stand that one role in Malcolm X. They was like, oh, we never go. That man got one man with too much power.
Yes.
They hate that. They can't stand that we will unite with our own people and not them. They can't stand that they can't control it. They will never be able to control black people like another black man or leader would come in and do to the community.
Yep.
It's like they don't like us because we never wanted their motherfucking ass. You got less than 10% of white black women who fuck with white men. Don't play with me. And after all these years, the number is still less than 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And why do y'all? They want our energy. They don't care now. They know what we bring. They know what black women bring. Because how you gonna dish your wife like that? Your wife sitting on the porch clean and shit, drinking lemonade. You gonna walk around. You gonna go into the field and get a woman that been in there for 10 years, 10 minutes. 10 hours, smell like sweat, pussy probably stank and sweaty and everything else. You rather? Let's just keep it a buck. Let's just keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? She ain't fresh. Cause you know down there it was hot as hell.
And we ain't been in the field all day.
His wife drinking motherfucking lemonade to go get some stank.
Yep.
That's why they hated us too, because they've always wanted us. And then it's like our kids learn more than they do faster. They start walking faster than theirs and everything. We're more educated by just, I don't know, by nature. We're better than them. And I'm not even trying to be arrogant, but they hate us for so many reasons and on so many levels it don't even make sense. But then they want to say, oh, we're all the same. That's a fucking lie. We're not. And then, like I said, we don't have motherfucking monkey and doggone Neanderthal DNA in our blood. Stop fucking lying to me.
Right. No, we're not apes. That's the biggest myth and biggest lie ever told. We're not apes. We didn't come from the gorillas and monkeys and baboons and shit. We are humans. We are human beings. And listen, we've been through a lot of trauma. And before we can heal from trauma. So now you have the minorities, you have the Latinos, you have the Black Americans. You have Asians, you have other groups, natives, you have all women who are pursuing their passions. We're excelling in life, feeling pretty good. Now, listen, even those who are considered LGBTQ or, whatever, it's not me, it's not my preference, but I don't have a judgment for anybody. I don't have No. So whatever people prefer, whatever they want to do, I don't have heaven. I don't have hell.
Why they so concerned about what somebody like and what their preference is? Why do you care so much? You just mad because you can't get it.
Yep.
So why do you care?
And no, we're not. It's a time out. Respect the differences in other people. I have since. I have friends who are white women, white men, some of the best people I've ever met, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got Black friends. I have Asian friends. I've got, Latin. I've got friends from all walks of life. All I want. I even got gay friends.
Okay, well, they still
and
people.
Family members. All I want, age 50 and beyond, says, all I want, respect the differences in other people. Understand that one group of people is not puppet master, sitting back, controlling and dictating the narrative and controlling the destiny and outcome of other groups of people. What? No, ma'am. No, sir. Right. And then this old privilege.
Right. That's why I said they're not indigenous to this earth because they're the only people that's struggling with birth. Because we ain't stopped fucking and having babies. The Mexicans definitely ain't stopped fucking. The Latinos definitely ain't stopped fucking having babies. The Hmong's have babies like a motherfucker. Everybody is fucking but y'all. Like, y'all the only ones who ain't having babies. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, y'all the only ones. So y'all hate all the other cultures because you've always been a minority. That's the whole thing. Even when England and motherfucking Poland and all these motherfucking white ass countries came together, we outnumbered y'all. Y'all literally was killing whole tribes of our people, of all races, all of our cultures that had any type of melanin, because y'all wanted to be in charge. If you was the dominant race, you wouldn't have had to go kill whole generations of people. So explain to me why your women don't even want to fuck with you no more. And then that's the thing, your women is fucking Hmongs and blacks and every culture but y'all. They don't want you. And so now y'all, so you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you gonna just start telling them what they can do with their body because you mad because you can't control them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, it don't make sense. Like, why are y'all so concerned? Like, y'all don't want women dating women because y'all want to have them. Because y'all want us to have kids. And then, I mean, they already sit up there and demolish several black countries by mixed races. So they kept mixed races so much where it went from 80% to 90% black all the way down to 5% because they kept on mixing their race with ours. Yeah. Because think about it, how come you don't see that many? When I know when I was little, I seen a lot of blue. We used to call their ass blue black. We don't have a whole lot of pure black as hell niggas no more.
Yeah.
What happened? They didn't mix the races up. Just imagine how much they did that in the last 25 to 50 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like y'all needed to incorporate yourself in the world so badly that y'all had to kill so many of our people, so many of our ancestors, so many tribes, and then bury the proof and flood the proof. Like you said, with the noses getting blown off, y'all know there was niggas,
and it's okay.
They can't even not stop finding stuff that they knew that we didn't discover. They go somewhere. What they ain't okay to them because they're dying.
Well, and listen, it's for them to populate the earth. It's for us to, folks of color and different. Everybody populate the earth. Love one another. It's supposed to be about the greater good of all. The greater good. That's what my Kyle organization is about. Let's talk about the difficult conversations nobody wants to have.
They're not like us, though. That's the point. They can't have those conversations because they're not made with empathy. They don't have, and that's a fact. White people aren't born with a whole lot of empathy. So how we gonna sit up here and convince a group of people to be into a diverse community when they technically not like, they don't think like us, they don't want to live like us, because they haven't even lived in mansions before until they stole our shit.
Well, here's what I want. I want the judgment to go away. The judgment of the so-called minority communities. I want it to go away. I want it, like, when I look, this is the, Western culture, right? It's influenced by, and we know what that means, right? But there are blacks, there are other cultures living in this nation. Let's not sabotage another group of people. And how about crime? My husband helped me understand this. Crime, not all crime, there's nothing that's a matter of fact 100% anything. Mm-hmm. But a lot of crime comes from scarcity. It comes from poverty.
That's why they created.
But when we have such systemic racism, when we have pure flat out racism, you're trying to set us back. You voted against your own interests.
Right. But you even said it. Crime comes from scarcity. So why is it that they've been the ones in control of the highest amount of crime in the world?
And stop control, like, no fear, right? Learn that if you love, embrace, and respect other cultures, because it was designed that way, will love, embrace, and respect you. Please stop. I shouldn't, as a mother, be worried about my son, my grandson, my daughter.
I'm guilty, sis. I'm guilty because I'm working those. I don't like them motherfuckers. I'm just gonna keep the butt.
But sis, Liz, hear me out.
I'm working.
Hear me out. I shouldn't have to worry about my business because at the strike of a pen, at a presidential or you know what I'm saying, a higher level in government that governs all of this that we're all subjected onto, I shouldn't have to be worried about my career, my business, my lifestyle going down the shitter. I
Yeah,
shouldn't have to worry because I'm a woman and because I'm
that
a woman
part. A
that's
black
a
woman at that.
black woman. I shouldn't have to be scared for my
Nope.
husband and my son to drive in the suburbs. I shouldn't
Right.
be afraid to venture off outside of urban communities and stop.
Yeah.
God damn it, stop.
We
Saying
not them people though. We wasn't those people. The things that happened to us made us that way. We don't know why. Only thing that we know that why they're like that is because of jealousy.
you know what? If it listen, we all walk. We have 10 toes, 10 fingers, different shapes of heads and faces and craniums and lips and shit. You know, the melanin. I got, more melanin, some are more melanin than others. Just listen, here is my thing. It's hard to bounce back and it's hard to be resilient when the game changes, when you have a group of people that finally can be proud of themselves and they can pull themselves together by the bootstrap, their careers, their families, their lives, their businesses. Black history is a part of history. Why erase it?
Because they're intimidated. And it's a spirit, and honestly, we find it and then too, as Black people, they didn't made us so insecure that hell. One of the things I have wanted to mention too, I mean, we got to stop being scared of, like I didn't tell people before, I didn't get a chance or opportunity to pick what color I wanted to be. Why the hell is you mad at me because I'm a lighter skin than you? So you gonna hold that against me my whole damn life? Like when I was a baby, they told me to pick a color. Like we can't even stop fighting against ourselves about South Africa versus, you know what I'm saying, the other parts or Ghana, or you dark skinned and I'm light skinned, or she was born mixed, or she, like we gotta, as our own group of people, we gotta get our own selves together. Because honestly, they're the ones, I don't even know if we used to fight again. They pinned us against each other. We got to get past that before we can fix the world.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to, and so healing from the trauma, sis, we got to, absolutely, you are so correct. And healing from the trauma is hard to do when you have more deterrences and more obstacles being tossed in your path.
We hate ourselves. We got to stop hating ourselves first. Because if you really think about it, like you were saying, the biggest thing that God ever wanted, besides all this stuff, let's just keep it straight. He wanted everybody to love. Love was supposed to be the main thing of all of this. And they made us hate ourselves and hate what we represent, hate our noses, hate our butts. And they made, when I'm talking about because me and my dad talk about this, and he even talks about one of the worst eras that he went through as a man was the 70s, when everybody wanted to be a super pimp. They out here turning their women out on drugs. They putting them out. These men addicted to drugs, so they put their women out and prostitute them so she can make money, so he can to support his habit. Everybody wanted to be a pimp. He was like, that was one of our worst eras in life too. And then, like you said, what happened when they put them drugs in the household? They like to tell us that we kicked them out and stuff like that, but we didn't nobody tell you to get on alcohol. Ain't nobody tell you to use the drugs.
Right.
Either. And it's like, we can't keep you in the household if you beating on mama, you beating on the kids, and then you got these demons inside you fucking your daughter. Mm-hmm. So you got to go. Because otherwise, like you said, I'm going to kill you. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we didn't went through some of the worst things. Ain't no other race that went through. And the hardest thing for our people, and then like I said, we still got our great granddaddies teaching us the wrong way because they don't know, they never seen no other way. Some of them may never even live to be as free as we are right now. Let alone, Obama become a president. It's so many constructions. Like you said, it's so many things that need to be peeled back and talked about and healed. And we can't even heal ourselves. How are we going to go to the other communities or the other cultures and be like, hey, you shouldn't be thinking like this. We can't even stop thinking bad. We talk so bad just in regular conversation. Oh, I'm broke. I ain't nothing. But, we can't even stop talking negatively for 30 days about ourselves.
Self-talk, right? Negative self-talk, right?
Because somewhere down in because the parents was worse than the white man sometimes. If she had a light-skinned daughter and a dark-skinned daughter, I mean, hell, you couldn't even be a damn art. You couldn't even use your talent if you wasn't paper brown, the paper bag brown. So it's like we got to get past the hurt, the hate within our own selves. We what we have inside us, we put onto our children. The fears that we have, we allow we push onto our children. Well, don't do this because you know this could happen. Because I used to do it when I lived up north. We was the only all black family up there.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified. They just happy with their little white friends, and I'm sitting back like, where you was at? What time you coming back? Let me know, because I don't want you in a ditch somewhere.
Right.
Like when it's fear, but it's also a reality.
Right.
Because they will kill us, and then they will get jealous of us, and they will sabotage us. Right. They will burn your house down. They subject to do anything. And now, when you're around enough, we've learned how to be so horrible by being around the most horrible people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like they don't have. You see how mad they are because we are free. They hate that our children are more. Our kids always been smarter than them, but it's just a known fact that we smarter than them. They can't stand that our kids are more intelligent, more athletic. You know, it's hard to live and change and try and love your enemy. I know that's what it say, but that you got to think how hard that really is. Because when I tell my grandmama, I don't know what she experienced being a sharecropper, but she passed away to this day. Can't stand them because some people have been some of the worst things, and it's hard to forgive your enemies. That's got to be practice. Like I said, that comes with growing not past 50, but 60 and 70. And some of them died with that doggone
70,
anger.
80.
Right.
Pain. How do we? So how with resilience, right? Because we've always had to be, just especially as a people, and then women as a group, all women, we definitely have to be resilient. And so moving past the obstacles, and especially if it's systemic and it's designed and there's nothing you can do about it, it stunts growth. It blocks your path. It stops you from pursuing your goals and dreams. It makes you afraid, and fear begets fear. So living in fear on top of everything else, since I have to be honest, my friends come from all walks of life, as I stated earlier. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not ignorant to the fact. My eyes are wide open, right? And as the ancestors used to say, because they were very Southern, right? Yeah. My yas are wide open. I mean, I can hear, and I can see, and I can feel. And so it's tough. And going into age 50, because I know we got to move on. This is our last topic, I swear. But going on to age 50, I have to do self-work. And the reason I brought this topic into play is that it's tough. This one is tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough. This one that we on now. We wrestle now, and one of the passages, right? The passages I believe in, and I can listen. I get wisdom from different sources. Yeah. And I love Ephi. And I'm learning. And that's my root. I got blood tests. I found out that Igbo is my original, the mother that traces back all the way back as far as possible. Over 500 years was Nigerian and Igbo. And then I had a first cousin take the same test, female, and she got the same results. So I know for a fact where my four mothers come from. Nigerian Igbo tribe, and I want to learn so much. And back there is a certain belief system. And why does that belief system have to be demonized? And things like that.
Because they were scared of our power. We were so powerful, though. So you got to think how strong our spirit. We like right now that everybody is Christian. So most of our spirit and our power and our gifts have been suppressed of who we are. Just imagine how, like, you got to be powerful when the slave got to put doggone knives in your mouth so you can't curse them. These women were so powerful, and our oracles were so powerful. We had, like you said, the discernment and the the Claire, the Claire Sentience. This is nothing. This ain't even nothing. And if you ever watched that movie, what's that movie called with they were saying Lucy?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Okay, well, basically she was saying that most of us we're walking around here only using maybe like 20% of our brain. We didn't been so suppressed. Our doggone pineal gland has been blocked. We're nowhere near how powerful they were back in the day. Right. And like you said, the hatred didn't come. We wasn't haters. We didn't hate people because, like you said, we wouldn't have invited them. It came because of the oppression. It came because of the death. It came because of the rape. It came because of all the stuff that happened to us. People, even the animals, don't trust these motherfuckers. We were most close to the animal. Us and the animals were one. We were grounded people. That's why I believe in the zodiac signs. You got to think about it. You got air, fire, water, and earth.
Right.
Okay. Right. So whichever one of those you fall up under, that's where your most strength is at. Mm-hmm. It's just like the airbenders. You see what I'm saying? That movie has some truth to it. It's like I'm earth. My strength comes with being grounded.
Being grounded.
So that would have been my superpower. That would have been my gift. Yeah. Whereas people who have air, that would have been their gift. They can manipulate. That's why most of the people that you see that's in these mental institutions, they're in mental institutions because they can't figure them out. They have power. How the hell you been in this goddamn spoon? Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing wrong with them people. You just scared. Mm-hmm. You scared of the powers that they have. And then the other thing that white people don't like is women controlled everything back then. These men, we taught them how to fight, how to hunt. You couldn't even go out for war without consulting the oracle. We don't even know. That's why I said I used to hate being a woman until I realized how powerful and the significance that we really had in this world. They had to strip us of all of that because they were cave people. You notice that they show reruns of everything but them being cave people? How many caveman movies have you seen on rerun on any of these doggone channels? These motherfuckers used to literally grab their women, hit them upside the head with a bag, grab them in a cave, rape them, chain them up until they act right, and give them babies. That's what they were used to. They came to our doggone land was mad because they couldn't do that.
Wow. No, I don't know.
It's so much history we don't know about ourselves and why we're like this. But I know that they played us against each other.
Yeah, well, we did. We do not like one another, and that is something. And then since we got to wrap up and get on to the next one. But
okay, let's go.
This is good. This is a great candlelit conversation about building wealth, business, and other matters, right? Other financial matters. And this is my birthday.
Yes.
Right. And as Chrissy B said, my birthday is in 2 hours. And so these are topics that need to be listened. We have to discuss it. We have to move past it. And love, right? Love is the greatest gift of all, no matter what color, no matter what race, no matter what gender, no matter what religion. If we all learn to operate in the spirit of love, we will be okay. Love and respect, and no dominance and control over another person. Flow in your gift. Be who you were created to be. If you're very athletic, be very athletic. If you're not, that's okay. Find your niche as a race of people or whatever, whoever. If you're very intellectual, if you're very beautiful, if you're very everybody, no finger print is the same.
Yep.
If we talk about the creator of all things, unique enough to make us all different, did not mean we were supposed to go against one another and hate one another. We were not supposed to do that. We were not supposed to do that. And when you start hate, you get hate.
Hard to get out of it. Yep.
Hard for another group of people. If you are shipping their loved ones away on account of them being Latina, and they are really citizens,
or they pay taxes.
Right. And how about human trafficking? I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but all of the things that we are doing, evil, wicked acts that we are doing as people, it bothers me. And I know that I'm just Shawn, right?
No, it's okay.
Rhyme podcast, and who is she? I don't have to be, Beyonce, but I'm me.
Because I wasn't this mean when I was younger. I didn't used to feel like that when I was young. Because I was like, I don't understand. But I guess some of the places that I've lived, some of the experiences that I've gone through, watching them mess with my kids, like you said, I'm like, all right. But that it don't matter about the color with that. You could be black, white, or orange. You mess with my kids, I got a problem.
Right.
But I will say that most of my issues, I will say this in fairness, I moved outside of this area so my kids would have a better place, and it was a great thing. But I mean, kids are gonna be kids. It don't matter what color they are. It's gonna be some type of indifference. They're gonna fight. You're gonna have somebody not like you or something like that. But it was, I didn't have to go through certain things out here that I was up there. But it was certain things I didn't have to go through down here, up there either. And I don't, like I said, but most of the stuff that like I said, I've got to work on it, because I've met some really nice white folks up there that really help. And even during slavery and stuff like that, you had some good people.
Right.
Like I said, I feel like every culture, regardless, have good and bad people.
Right. That's true. And that's absolutely the point, sis. Mm-hmm. That's and so, love has to outweigh everything. It's hard to focus on resilience. Right. And if you build up a business, and because the system changes rules and regulations and who can benefit from certain contracts, and then you're removing, the current administration is removing certain benefits from minorities. So you can't DEI and code words, and stop. I'm going to end it with this right here.
Okay.
Stop that shit.
That part.
Listen, stop that motherfucking shit. Stop it. You are not helping. You are hurting. If you have power and authority to stop, please stop. Please stop. To target groups of individuals that are different from you is not okay. And it is tough for other groups to remain steadfast and strong and resilient in the face of adversity when we don't control the narrative. Right. So stop in my prayer, because this is bigger than us.
Yep.
This is spirit. We don't wrestle against no flesh and blood. We don't fight against flesh and blood.
Personalities, yeah. You're right.
These rulers and all that old jazz and high places and all of that old mess.
I hope we the people that, just like our ancestors lived to see a black president. I hope we're the people, just like with Martin Luther King, that he wanted everybody to be. I hope we, one day that everybody can get along.
One day.
I know it's going to take a lot of work on it in everybody's culture, but it seems like everybody else want to start in our culture instead of facing their own, dealing with their own people. How about you go and preach to your people first? Because we have been friendly. Mm-hmm. We have to understand. We've been a lot of stuff for many, many years.
So have natives. Yes. Who are damn near extinct and just genocide. How about that? How about just all of the things, a people that was already here. Mm-hmm. And then we have the nerve to be tossing somebody else over the border. Get out of our country.
Your country.
Hello.
You go back to Poland.
Because some of my ancestors were certainly Native American. So the next chapter, sis.
Yeah, because we can get on for this one for a minute.
We will go down that rabbit hole forever. Look, and I don't want that personal text from Crystal. Like, I know it's your birthday, but right?
We gotta go. All right. What we got next?
So I'm gonna move on. But listen, we do have to do better, and we have to, as women of color, all women. I wish, because we are the teachers. Yeah. All women, listen, white women, black women, Asian women, Latino women, Native American women, Arabic women, Indian women, Madre, from all around the world. if you're listening or you're watching or somewhere along the lines, you find this here podcast and happen to listen to little old us talking from MKE, Wisconsin. Please start teaching, because we're the first educators and teachers. It starts with us. We teach our husbands, whether they want to believe it and admit it or not. We teach our children. We teach in our communities. We teach on our jobs. We are nurturers. We are teachers. We are love.
So walk that walk
here. So healing needs to happen so other cultures who are being targeted can become resilient. You listen, and then we are not our, this last point, we are not our ancestors.
That part.
I know it, I'm sorry.
No, excuse me.
We're definitely not our ancestors, and this is not the day of old. No matter how hard you try, what you're gonna find is you know what they say, fuck around and find out. You gonna FAFO, because listen, you gonna find out that, oh boy, right? And you might mess around and lose your own life in the process of trying to intimidate another group of people, because folks are tired. Everybody should be tired. Get tired enough to make changes for the greater good of all in the world and make a difference, and let's focus and lean on love. And that's it. That's my focus while I'm on the path to age 50. And that's hard, sis, when you got people that hate me because of my kinky hair and my melanin in my skin, and that I'm a woman and my age or my gray or the way I speak, or because I live in the urban community. You hate me. You don't know me. I don't know you to hate you. How about learn how to stay in your lane, get yourself together, get your shit. Like Tamar used to say, get your life.
Right.
Go ahead, get that.
Manage yourself first.
Right. And then let's focus on how to control, you know what I'm saying? And the narrative for the good of all. Let's bend and flex and love.
Okay.
Because we gonna end up sabotaging all that God has given everybody as a group of damn people who are just disrespectful and demeaning. And no, it's not okay. It causes issues, and and we're all tired. We are all tired.
Yes.
For those who like to say, we're tired of ghetto, we're tired of this, we're tired of that. You live in scarcity and in poverty. You live in a community where you piled up, goddamn it, one house on another with barely able to eat. You do that shit. Let me see you do that. Let me see you do that from generation to generation with no knowledge, no nothing. And let me see how you pan out. And then you can judge somebody. Stop it. It's stopped. How about STOP? And I'm gone. I'm going to move on to the very last wine here.
Okay.
Sis, I love you, and I'm glad you're here with me. And I'm glad
I got you
hanging on with me for dear life here. Right? Here we go. Last one. I know this is a work day. This is hump day. This is Wind Down Wednesday. Josie said amen. And the point is that we have to have spaces where we can talk and air this stuff out and bring the therapists to the table, the licensed therapists, the love and light, those who can help make a difference and not going to pour, gasoline on top of a fire, which is already hate. I'm sick of it. And stop targeting folks. Anyway, fun fact. Notes of resilience, right? Share a setback and how you bounce back. We already talked about that. Nobody said anything, so I'm gonna move on, sis. We talked about wine legs. All right, so full body faith. The last wine of the evening, and last topic of discussion, faith. It's faith. Okay, and it's about full-bodied wines that feel heavy, whole milk versus skim milk, so it's all about the substance and everything. Life lesson is faith is the foundation for every season. Okay, and our discussion here, how has faith shaped us as a woman, us as people, as business women, as moms, as just period. It's about faith, right? The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, is what sticks out to me so much in that passage. And you know what? Faith without works is dead is another one, which is common sense, right? Because we could sit back and we could talk all about, faith. Oh, I got the faith the size of a mustard seed. You don't even know what the hell a mustard seed is.
Or look like, for that matter.
So how about we as a people learn how to stop taking stuff at face value, go deep. You don't listen to what nobody say. My husband taught me that. He said, stop listening to what they say, watch what they do. And so why number 5? The origin of it is Italy. It's a semi-dry. It's our last wine of the evening. Okay. When you swirl, right, to open it up, I know we've been talking, and thanks for hanging in there with me tonight. It's my birthday, y'all, in a couple hours.
It's your birthday.
The point of doing this, we got to talk about pain points. We got to talk about moving forward. We got to talk. But aromas: blackberry, cherry, black pepper, and oak. Flavor should be juicy, dark fruit, spice, and it should have a smooth finish. And remember, we said we don't serve red wines as cold as we do the white wines. Tannins are present but soft, add structure to the wine. Pairs well with pasta, lamb, mushroom, and aged cheese. And our topic of discussion, how has faith shaped us, right? And what does faith mean to us, and how can it help, especially me, right, on my road to 50, my faith. And so full body wines, fun fact is they feel heavier on a palate, like whole versus skim milk. And these are often richer in alcohol. So I'm glad it's the last one. Tannin and flavor, and faith. Our life lesson for tonight, our last discussion, our last topic is going to be faith is the foundation for every last season. This wine represents stillness, strength, and sacred reflection. Tonight, we should pause, remember, and reflect, right? Faith for me, just to kick it off, is about trusting the creator of all things. I am no longer tied to religious boundaries, and I don't care about judgment behind that. I'm okay. I'm 100% okay. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like anything that I do, what I believe. I'm okay with that. I don't have to hide who I am, anything about me, what I do. And then I'm not going to shun anybody else for who they are and what they do. If it don't fit within my space, it is what it is. That's you and this is me. And I'm going to go over there and you take your ass over there and we coexist in this world. Nothing wrong with that. I understand, and what I believe in now, which makes more sense to me and I resonate well with, is that I carry the strength of my ancestors. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Many of my ancestors, I had the privilege and the honor to know them. When I say when I was born, I was the 5th generation of women. I knew who I saw her almost 100 years old. My grandma, my great-great-grandmother, then her daughter, Minnie Liddell was Alzadi on my mama's side. 5 generations. It was my mother, it was grandma, it was granny, which is my mama's mom, it was my mama, and then it was me. That was 5 generations of women. Then I had Marquise. He was the 6th generation. It was 6 generations. Nevertheless, mother was still living. Everybody still living. Mother could give us stories about her ancestors telling her about slavery. That's how deep the roots and the love and the heritage runs. And I'm not ashamed of it. And I'm not going to make anyone make me ashamed. And I honor my ancestors. They're my angels. They're my spirit guides, because I know they know me, they love me, and I love them. Right? Then there's Ephi. Then there's God. There's the creator of all things. Because what human? Look at the turmoil and all the foolishness we're living through today. We can't create shit because we don't have the sense. God gave a shoestring half the time. So just love and reverence for a God who created all things exist in the power, and everything is in God's hands, period. Because I go outside, I look up at the moon. Can't a man, not a me, not sis, not a person that's still chimed in with us tonight, nobody can hang that moon and make that sun rise and set at the same. So there's a God somewhere, and nobody will ever be able to tell me that it's not
true.
There's God. There's a great spirit, the creator, the love energy. And then God is a God of peace and a God of war. But I ain't going down that rabbit hole. I'm gonna let everybody else have it on your own somewhere out there. But I honor those who came before me. Their DNA is, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, right? And speaking of what we just talked about, resilience, passed down, and they passed down trauma, they passed down glory, they passed down blessings. All that they knew, all that they had, I believe they passed down, one way or another. And so I honor that. And those things that are negative, that's existing, you can see it, and it's our responsibility, sis.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. It's our responsibility. It's my responsibility to make sure that my babies are okay. They're healed. They understand. My grandbaby, right? He heal some of them old wounds from the systemic issues, the racism, the hurt, the trauma, the abuse, the shit that we done endured because of our own decision making. Everything that we talked about tonight, bad relationships, bad sisterhoods, bad careers, contracts, we're responsible. It may not be our fault. And my daughter taught me this, my baby, because she's a therapist, a real one. When she went and got educated. And I'm so proud of her. Not a jealous mom, but a proud mom.
Yes.
She's beautiful, and she went farther than me. And I'm trying to toss her out there farther. I'm trying to rear the fish. Hey, throw her out there even farther and not be jealous of her beauty and her intelligence. And we got to do better as people. But it's my responsibility to heal the trauma. I identify it. I see it. So how I'm going to see it and not do the work? I got to do the work. And that's what I'm on from age 49 leading up to 50. And then the second half of my life, I really want to be a great person. I want to contribute, right? It's about the greater good of all. It's about love and light. It really is. Not all people are bad, no matter what color they are, where they come from, men, women, children. Not all people are bad. So that's my thought process, because we're in a world filled with injustice, political unrest, violence, dictatorship, control, human trafficking, lies, scheming, manipulate, all kinds of stuff. And you just want to, sometimes I'ma own it. I learned that from Ian Van Zandt. Own it. Stop saying we, they. No, it's me. I am. I gotta own it and do something about it. Do the actual work. And it's hard, but I think that's what I was created for. So our last life lesson, we end with spiritual reflection. For me, that's trusting, like I said, in God, divine timing, and unfolding for my next chapter. I'm pushing my way. I'm pressing my way right on to that 50 mark, right? And like it says, wealth, wicks, and wine with Shawn, chapter 49, calm, collected, because I am still. And my element is water. So it resonates me so well. I am calm. And I'm not the rivers of water. I am that calm, but still waters run deep. So it's not to be still. Don't get it twisted, right? So being calm, collected, and coming for 50. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. I feel like I want more wisdom, knowledge, love, light, understanding, right? And so, sis, for our last topic and our last wine of the evening,
Okay.
how does faith shape the way you protect yourself, protect your family, your bloodline, your business, your whatever, and how faith helps you grow?
Okay. Well, I would say starting in relationships, like you said, being in church, we did learn a lot about have faith. And that was one of the things that I struggled with when I first did, when I first started my religious journey, because I was always like, how am I supposed to have something that I don't understand? I can't see it. I can't talk to it. And because everybody's like, have faith. And they never really explained it to me. And I think what made me understand faith is the trials and the tribulations that I went through. And through my life, as I look back, I've seen how God has always been there for me. Through me being married, even though at the time I was coming out of religion, I clear as day heard a voice to tell me to run for my life. And the first time that I heard it, I was like, nah, that can't be God. And then, everybody in church, God ain't gonna tell you to leave your husband. I'm sitting here like, okay, I stayed, and it got worse. The situation got worse. I heard it again, and I still didn't leave right away. And by that time, he became very abusive. And so a time came when he was like, get out and take the kids with you or whatever. And since I didn't think, this time I listened, and I was terrified. Because at the time I wasn't working. I didn't have any money. I didn't even know if my car could make it out of town.
Mm-hmm.
I packed up as much stuff I could, put it in my car. My dad gave me like $70 for gas, and I went to Indiana. I had to leave my kids behind, though. God said, your kids are going to be okay. I'm going to protect them. But you got to leave. And at that time, remember I told you, my oldest son was about to be a freshman in college, and my youngest son was about to be a senior in high school, so I had to be there. Especially for my youngest one. I knew if I stayed, I knew if I kept him with his dad, it was going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know where I was going to live at, because like I said, I didn't have no job. When I tell you, he said, I'm going to look out. Even being here in Presidio, sis, he's like, I'm going to sustain you. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't get it. And when I tell you, I don't even know how I got in here, because when I tell you everybody was denying me my applications to get an apartment. My first apartment, even though I was complaining about it being so small, and and I compared it to the apartment I had at 19, my rent was $550.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Right. This was 2016. I still didn't have a job, but I was moving in the middle. I was moving in the middle of the month, so I only had to. He said he wasn't going to charge me the security deposit. He was just going to charge me for moving in half of the month. So I was up there cleaning houses, sis. I went up to Indiana. I was cleaning houses for my family, because they didn't give me no money, but they was okay with letting me clean their house.
Wow. Wow.
And so when I say he provided me an apartment so me and Cyrus can stay in, and then he allowed me to move from there to something. But I will say everywhere I moved was a little bit better, except for the place on 27th Street. I went through hell with that. He was like, it's gonna be okay. And it was okay. But if I wouldn't have never trusted the voice that I heard, I'd have still been in an abusive relationship, because I'd have been too scared to leave it. So I'm gonna start, that's the biggest, I would say that's the biggest thing in my life of faith that I portrayed, because I didn't know what was gonna happen. When I say when I told y'all I was in the worst part of my life, I didn't know, I didn't have no income. And then that's also when you will find out the sisterhood and the family and the people that's supposed to be around you when you go through the worst thing, when you in the worst place of your life.
Yep.
Everybody kicking and spitting on me. I didn't have nobody to help me, But he was like, you know how God say, I'm your sustainer. I'm your El Shalom. What's that? I didn't forget the words. L, all them, yeah. Yes. And I was like, because it's like the thing is, like you said, what your husband said, don't listen to what everybody say, see what they do. So
Yes.
that was a big thing of me. But then it was like, where I'm gonna go from here? I didn't have no direction. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had skills, but my application was but nobody calling me for jobs. So I was out here hustling.
Okay.
I was working at a little place, and he was like, I was gonna be okay. I got here, I thought they was gonna deny me. They was like, you got the apartment. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wasn't making enough to afford the apartment, sis.
I remember.
I didn't even know how I was gonna pay my next month's rent. You see what I'm saying? Like it was just so crazy. And even with my little friend, sometimes people come in your life, not like you said, not for a long time, and not but just for a good time. He helped me pay my rent and buy my groceries and everything for maybe the first 2 months that I moved here. Moved in the house on Hampton. And then when I was filling out the application, I lived on 27th Street, and I was like, God, I got to get out of here. It was a 1-bedroom. The kids was both in college by this time, but I was ashamed for them to come home. Girl, tell me why I had bed bugs, roaches, and mice.
Oh man.
I'm
trying times though.
And I'm like, but it played a part on my self-esteem and everything. I was so embarrassed. And I was so embarrassed because at the end of the day, I had to make sure my kids were gonna be okay. And had I not believed, if I not had no faith, I don't know, I would have just gave up and tried to kill myself. Because I wanted to die. Because I'm just like, how did you don't remember how many times I was like, God, how did I get here? Yep. Like, I don't know what I did. I just didn't get it. And I was their only source of, and I'm gonna tell you one of the reasons I made it is because of my children. And because of the faith I had, because I'm like, I can't allow them to see me like this for the rest of their lives. Right. I can't, because their dad was gone. And it's like, I had to be their strength. I had to be the man, to show them to keep going on and endure. Right. So while I was going through all of that, I'm going to tell you, the apartment that I was living in with Cyrus, the reason I was able to afford that, because I was, in my mind, at the time, all these girls getting all this money back from going to school, I paid all my rent for us financial aid. I was able, every time my financial aid check came, I was ready, because it was only $550. I was able to pay 2 months up on my rent, and then I had a side job cooking at a little convenience store in the back.
I remember that. That's when I first met you.
Yes. Okay, I was struggling, sis. Like it was crazy. I wasn't licensed yet for insurance.
Okay.
I don't know was I licensed yet? Well, I think I just got licensed or whatever, but I was still studying. And I was like, all three of us going to get our bachelor's. You know what I'm saying? We all going to do this. But if I didn't have that, I don't know. Then the reason I went and got my bachelor's because I still needed to pay rent. It ain't that I didn't want to go back to school. But I needed, but I needed to pay my bills. But yeah, I believed in God. Had I not had the discernment, I'd have gave up. Because when I tell you the amount of people that I asked, and everybody was like, because I never been here. I've always had money. Yep. I've always had a way to sustain myself. And I was mad because I was like, I get with this dude and lose everything. When I tell you, he was trying to put me to the bottom, like how I go from building houses to, and I don't know where nobody live at, and I'm not dissing nobody or nothing, but I was just like, how did I go to building houses up north, coming from a half an acre of land to living on Buffalo in 13th and Burleigh? The house that I had on 13th and Burleigh had boards on it while we still in there. Wow. I couldn't even open the windows. It was still boarded up. Wow. And it's like when I tell you he was trying to take me to my lowest. So it's just like that run for your life. When I got the opportunity, I left. He was like, you're going to be okay. I'm going to take care of you. But I was scared to leave. I was scared to leave earlier because I knew if something would have happened at a younger age, my kids wouldn't have made it. Mm-hmm. And that manipulation from him would have been serious. Okay. He'd have been playing all type of games with their minds and turning them against me and everything. So I stayed for the kids. Okay. And people called me stupid, but I couldn't stay no more. Since he was like, you got to run. And that scared me because I'm like, what? For my life, run for my life. What's going on? I don't know what the plans that he had. I mean, I kind of know it now, all these years later, but he was literally trying to destroy me because he hated my energy. He hated my happiness. He hated everything about me. That's why I'm telling you, I was literally sick. And I mean, I would go so far to even think I was being poisoned. And so that in itself is where I got here. Okay. And I remember not having to rent here. And God said, I got you in there. I'm going to make sure you stay there. So even the times where I was behind on my rent, they've always worked with me.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can say it can't be nobody but God, because I wasn't supposed to be here because on paper I didn't afford it.
Yeah.
None of the apartments I had, I was supposed to be there because I didn't have no job. I didn't even have no references. I had always lived. I had my own house for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I remember I told you I got my first house at 25. I wasn't renting. So I didn't have no rental history. I didn't have nothing. And then he purposely moved out the house it was at, and I couldn't even find a decent place until after like 5 years. Because if you got an eviction on your thing, they don't want to rent to you.
Right.
So I mean, and then the faith is I was, my kids. I was like, I had to have faith that my kids were gonna make it through that, because one of my scariest other points is that they were still hurt by our separation, even though at the time they were like 19 and 17.
Okay.
And my oldest son is like me. He internalized everything. And Cyrus, Cyrus he don't care. And so I didn't want my kids to be on drugs and turn to alcoholics while they were in school, because they were hurting. I seen them hurt, and it hurted me. That's, you see what I'm saying? He was like, because of you covered. But I had to believe that I was strong enough in faith and in spirit that my protection was covering them, and that they would be okay. And so when I started kind of seeing them party a little bit too much and start drinking too much and all this stuff, I was worried.
Yep.
They was out here. They was with all them, the people that like to do that hard, And so that was my biggest in my life. I would say that would be. I mean, it's little things that happen in life. God protected me in accidents. It's coming up, but that was my biggest thing, because I didn't know what to come in my life. I just left. I mean, when I tell you I left, he said, get out. I just put everything in the car and left. I didn't know if I was going to be okay or not. I didn't know if my auntie was going to treat me funny when I moved down to Gary. Because all the family I got here, nobody asked me, did I need help?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't pay people rent. People didn't stay with me. I didn't buy people cars. Sis, when I tell you, I wasn't used to being at that point in my life ever. And nobody wanted that. That's another reason why I don't deal with people.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to help me. Nobody asked me if I needed some soap, some tissue, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say faith, and it is something that you gotta have in life, because you're gonna come through tough times in life that you're gonna need something besides your mind to get you through it. Something besides your education. Something besides your experience that you didn't live before, because everybody come to a point in their life that all that stuff ain't gonna matter no more. Right. And I didn't have nothing but faith. That's the only thing that I could live off of. And then I just slowly started getting opportunities. I slowly started getting jobs, and when I tell you, I was working at the center up here on Silver Spring, girl, when I went there, I had to go do a hardship letter, and I had to go get on welfare. I'm talking about when I had to go get work for, they made me go to work for 20 hours a day to get $500 a month. Mm-hmm. So I could pay my bills. And he was like, I got you. He's like, it's a verse in the Bible. I wouldn't bring you this far just to leave you. And because I just thought everybody, I thought, because I feel like God wasn't listening. I thought everybody just gave up on me. And so now here I'm doing a lot better. So that's my story of faith. And I feel like without it, and that's what, I don't know where I would be at. Like, it's something that, I mean, I've always believed in it, but it's like, it's one thing when you go to church, you hear these scriptures, you know what I'm saying? And then when you actually got to live them scriptures out and believe them.
Yeah. Yep. Standing on it.
That brought me to my 50s, and that's what helped the last 10 years of my life. That's what I've literally been living on. And I had started saying, it's like you said, out of the mouth, out of your mouth, what they say, I mess up some scriptures, but
it's been a long day, sis.
The words that I was saying, God, because I was like, God said he got me. God said he got. I kept saying that, I'm like, I'm gonna be okay because God got me. Then I started getting arrogant about it, because then I started seeing my enemies get down. I started seeing stuff happen. And then I started walking away from people because I was scared of them, because I was scared of what God was going to do to them.
Yeah,
my faith was a little wavering at one point, and then throughout the years it just kept getting stronger and stronger, because he kept showing me, I got you. Mm-hmm. He was like, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Don't worry about where you're gonna eat. All those scriptures started coming to me.
Yeah,
and I was literally live living it. It wasn't just something that I was reading at church no more. It was something that I was living live and direct. And so
Mm-hmm.
as the more I had faith, the more confident I became. And the more strength. And now it's like, it's kind of arrogant now because I'm like, who about to mess with me? I'm like, my kids covered. What y'all talking about?
Right.
I know at certain times I'm still under attack because people don't like my spirit. But
Yeah.
even then, I gotta know that like y'all better leave me alone. I told my cousins them, I said, 'cause I know they was coming for me, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, y'all better leave me alone. Be careful what y'all say about me. And lo and behold, something happened to him. And that's what I'm saying. So it's like now I didn't got to the point where through life and things don't happen with a snap. It's some things that God had to take you through.
Right.
But without faith, I don't know how nobody making it without faith in these days. You know, especially like you said, even with our business, with everything that's going on, it's threatening and it's scary. But
Mm-hmm.
here we are still prospering. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things that, like you were saying, we're gonna make some money this year. We're gonna do well. Things is gonna change. It's a time in the season for everything, though.
Right.
And just saying that is faith. So I just know that God got me, but I also know that you may have to go through some things, but you still got to believe. Like you say, faith without work is
Yes.
dead. And I had to believe. I had to walk in that faith. I couldn't just sit in the house and be like, well, something's gonna fall out the sky and slap me. It wasn't like that. I had to put the work in too. I still had to
Mm-hmm.
get up and go to that job that was making 7 something. Then I went up to 8 something. Then I went up to 9 something. You see, it was only $9, but it was something. And then
Right.
what they say, and is better than nan all day. And I couldn't have
Uh-huh.
I still had a son to feed. You know what I'm saying? Girl, I remember $10 was hard to come by for a minute. But I would
Mm-hmm.
take that $10 and go to one of them little stores. What's them called? The Iranian stores, the Indian stores.
Yeah.
Girl, I give me a pack of some chicken wings for $3. Just make the $10 work. Girl, I was making it work. Okay, so I don't know. If we had to make grilled cheese sandwiches, if I had sometimes I'm like, well, we having breakfast for dinner. I did what I could. Like $10 was hard to come by for a long time, sis. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't afford to have no habits. I couldn't afford nothing. And then I had to walk to work. People was looking at me like I got crazy, but I couldn't even afford a bus pass. It's just, am
Listen,
I gonna get a bus pass? Am I gonna get something to eat?
listen. I just put something from the chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my children, both of them will remember this. We were having some struggles, some hard times, and we were in transition. Okay. I was leaving the lesson
Mm-hmm.
and trying to change my life and move forward and just focus on me not being toxic myself and get out of a toxic marriage. And so we had some serious struggles, and I was 100% self-employed. I didn't have a job. There was no backup. I was literally every day, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was at my office and I was maintaining a home and an office space, a brick and mortar location.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a call from my kids. And they were like, Mom. And when you're in the trenches and you're
Yeah.
working, you're trying to build, you're trying to maintain, you're trying to keep this, right? Mom, we hungry. I'm
Yes.
like, shoot. Ain't there that y'all can know, Mom. Like, no, that's
Ain't
why we're
nothing
calling
here.
you.
Right.
Hungry. So I can laugh at it now. It wasn't funny then. I left that office, which was literally 3 minutes away from home. Whatever wasn't done because my
Right.
babies have now
They
called.
hungry. Right. Shit. I get it, man.
And they have my mother, my sister have always been my village. But they call mama. And I'm like, shoot, how could I be so far into this that I'm not okay? Let me regroup, see what my babies need. What's going on? So I get home and I open, right? I'm like, shh, they are right. Now there was food, but nothing readily available for them to make that was desirable. I'll
Right.
just put it that way. Sis, you ever heard that I am who I am, and I
Yeah.
like trap music. Okay,
Oh, girl, please. That's me.
and I love my urban sounds, and I love Too Short. And Too Short
Okay.
has one of his raps. He say something in it. Can I sample the funk? right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was to make a heavy situation light. I went in that cabinet. If I got a can of beans, if I got a neck bone in the freezer where I pulled together some stuff, and my babies, when your kids are feeling low. I start pulling together. To this day, we laugh about it. And I start singing, "Hey, in the kitchen, can I sample the funk?" It was a sample. And I had them pull together a meal that was fulfilling, that my babies could eat. Cans of this, a piece of bread. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna sample the funk. And that's real.
We had a meal out of with ramen noodles, and if I had whatever I had, chicken, ground beef, we'll put that mug in it. We my Cyrus today still be saying he called it a ghetto. He called, what is it? Ghetto something. Ghetto. He's like that, but he be still requesting that. He's like, "Man, that was fire though." I was like, ramen noodles was 25 cents. You know what I'm saying? And ghetto meal. Ghetto mix is what we call it. If I had some peas, I cut me up some onions. All that went into the ramen noodles, okay?
Yep.
It's called ghetto mix, and that's what we ate. But it's like, I mean, you have to do what you got to do, but it make you feel horrible on the inside. And then the thing, like I admire about you and your family is that you have a lineage of people. I'm the matriarch, so I had to believe and have faith in that too, because it's like my grandmama. I didn't even get a chance to meet my great grandmama. My grandmama passed when I was a young girl. My mom passed, so it's just me. It's my brother. That's why me and my brother close. I raised him like he was my son.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I didn't have anybody to help. They didn't have no. And then all of my favorite aunties, like a lot of my family passed away, I swear within years of each other, like between 1 or 2 years of each other. So I only have a small group of aunties and probably 2 uncles left at this point on my mama's side. And like I said, and I wasn't really close with them. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have anybody. And then that's why I was like, God, how am I supposed to do this? And the amount of times I cried, because I'm like, I don't have any women or older women mentors. I don't have anybody. And so I have to be strong. That's why I am like I am. And it's tough because it's like, even with my brother, I'm the only person that's alive in their lives to guide them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how am I supposed? I'm like, God, how am I supposed to do this? I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I still need help my damn self. I mean, and then it's like on Mother's Day, before Mother's Day hit, no, it was a couple of days after. I don't know either where I had to call my brother. But I was just driving my bus, and I just couldn't stop fucking crying. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like, God, like, how am I supposed to endure this by myself?
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's so many things like that. But the meals, and I had to let that last at least about 2 days until something. That's what I'm saying. I had that man that I met, and I didn't want to meet no man because I had just came straight out of a relationship with my husband. I didn't want to meet nobody, but I'm telling you, them couple of months, he was like a savior. Like when I tell you, God will send somebody in your life.
Right.
And then I got to working at a place that cooked, and he was like, you need to take something home. So then they start eating stuff from the restaurant that I worked at. Like, I don't know. I like, what's that thing say? He carried me because I don't know how the hell.
Yep.
I don't know how I did it. But that's another reason why I'm so angry. But I'm just saying, if without that faith is so important to me. And like I said, my spiritual walk is so important to me now because of that, because it made me see that God loved me. It made me see that what they say, he is a helper, or he is, when there ain't nobody else there, he is, he's been everything for me.
Strength in the very time of need.
Yes, he's been everything for me. Because when I say that was a rough time, my mother never liked. I didn't never think I even had that much strength to be able to do it. I didn't think I was going to be. I'm proud of myself too, and then it made me love myself. It made me see. It taught me how to love myself, and that I didn't need people. I didn't need people's approval. Mm-hmm. I didn't need their validation. Because I could have played the funk to get what I needed too, though. You see what I'm saying? I could have just let me lower my standard.
Yeah.
But me lowering my standard would have shown my kids something that I didn't want them to see either.
Right. Right. And so faith over fear, faith over everything, faith over doubt, faith over. So everybody, so it depends on who you talk to, and everybody has their philosophy and blah, 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 right? For me, this is faith, and I got it written out right here so I don't miss a beat. So faith is not simply belief without evidence. It's too deep. It can't be that simple. It is the soul's memory of the truth. The soul's memory. And so I'm not going down the rabbit hole. I swear I'm not still doing 9,000 hours. And Crystal, we Crystal. She probably like, I didn't get a text yet. I didn't get a text yet.
I still gotta go clean.
Rapper, oh no. So let's
oh no, I'm just saying I'm gonna be good. We not rushing. Because I feel like you other people need to hear what other people go through, because I never had this growing up, so I didn't know how to be strong until I had to be. I didn't, like they say, you don't know how strong you are until you ain't got no choice.
Right.
And I didn't have testimonies. I didn't have people that sat down and talked to me like this, or talked to me about these type of things, or told me I can make it. So that was the other thing, like you're saying, being strong is one thing, but sometimes when your strength is out, what do? You ain't got nothing but faith.
Nothing but faith. And look, it's not just belief without evidence. That's too simple. So I have, it is the soul's memory of the truth, a knowing that lives deeper than logic, older than fear. So fear to me is a negative energy, and it's beyond the reach of sight. It's deep. It's deep. Faith is deep. It is the vibrational thread that connects my present to my highest potential.
See,
it's my physical self to my divine design. Because I know this can't be it. I'm going to be borderline in a couple of hours, in an hour and 9 minutes.
It's all right.
And I'll be on my road to 50. It's my will to the wisdom of the universe. And you know what? I'm beyond the universe. I don't give a damn about nobody's judgment about what I think, say, feel, and believe in. God created the universe. So for all of you people that want to be Bible thumpers, then you turn around. Here's my thing. Right? And I need these glasses to see, but I need for somebody to see me. Here's my thing. Listen, you can thump the Bible, and you can go all hard and be a religious person all you want to. But if you do all of that and you treat another human being like shit, you can't tell me anything. Nothing about love, light, religion, God, faith, nothing, because you have yet to master a lot of things, including your purpose for being here. So, with that being said, please, my will to the wisdom of the universe. Faith to me is energetic alignment with my soul contract. My reason, why am I here this time? What lesson is it that I need to learn? And since we talked about a lot tonight, we talked about so many things tonight. What is it that I'm here for this time? What is my soul? Why? Because it's more than just this flesh and blood. I have a spirit. There's a soul. There's something in here, and it's greater. The eye can ever capture that it's beyond our understanding, right? It's so much. And so the unseen architecture of my life, it was written before I was even thought of, before I was even born, before my ancestors were born, and it's carried in my bones. To have faith is to trust what the seen world denies. So that just what we just talked about, there's a reason why I brought it up. there's a reason why I brought it up. What we just talked about, scarcity, systemic racism, all of those things. The thing is faith is greater than what the seen world denies. You can deny me access to a water bubbler. You can make me sit in the back of the bus. You can tell me I gotta enter in the blacks only, the only toilet for the black people.
Right.
You can try to tell me DEI and all of the things. You can come up with everything possible, but you can't stop my faith because you didn't give it to me. You can't take it away. You ain't got no control over it. And that's why Harriet Tubman.
Man, she was bad.
That's why. That alone is why. And if she can do it, sis, we can do it. And I'm going to go into the next half of my life. And thank you for being here with me. But I'm going into the next half of my life. And I'm going to do the very best I can because coulda, woulda, shoulda, and all the things are still going to come up. But have strength, wisdom, love, knowledge, understanding, patience, all the things, all of the fruits of love. Because we can go down that rabbit hole too. To keep on excelling, keep on advancing. It's not about me because that's ego. It's not about me. It's about the greater good of all. I'm just a small piece of this big picture. I'm just a small little droplet, but a droplet that matters to the Most High, to the Creator of all things. To the point where that spirit being collects my tears. My goddamn tears.
Yeah.
So when we start talking about faith and moving forward, I'm going to have to rely on that, sis. As I push and I go, and I'm coming for 50. I'll be 49 in an hour and 5 minutes, and I'm coming for 50. Faith is going to have to be a big part of the journey moving forward. The second half of my life. And then look, AARP and all of these different people tell
me, they starting to call. Yes. I'm on like I 52, and I'm 2 years away from being able to be in a senior citizen income building. I was like, Lord, but this is what I want to say though. Don't be scared of 50 because it is a number. Your age is a number. It's what you are your strength. You are your health. You are your wealth. It's like because when I went through my stuff, I'm like, you gonna wait till 40 to pull this on us? You know what I'm saying? When I tell you I'm more vibrant, I got more energy, I'm healthier than I've ever been. I'm talking about I'm healthier now than I was when I was 35.
Yes.
So it's literally when they say age is just a number. I mean, that is so real. It's about your energy. It's how you carry yourself. And sometimes I be feel like I'm aging in reverse. You know what I'm saying? So don't just take 50 and just start getting depressed. Like that is a milestone. That is an accomplishment. And you should be proud of it, but don't feel old. Don't, because you're not old. It's how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself like you're an old lady, you're going to act like an old lady. As long as you keep because I mean, you got to think back in the days, they was living to 100 years old.
Yes.
So 50, they was just at their high point. Can you imagine?
Yes, I can.
It's like, girl, I'm just not starting to live. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is take 50 as an accomplishment. Live with it, enjoy it, have fun with it, because really you don't start living. Like you said, there's certain things and ways, and we as women, when you're 20, you go through something, when you're 30, you go through something, when you're 40, and up until we 60 and 70, our bodies is gonna change. It's gonna be things that we used to love, we're gonna hate. It's gonna be things we used to hate, we're gonna love. Our palates is gonna change, the foods we like. It's a wonderful thing to be able, and then like I said, I'm like the person in charge now. It's a blessing and it's a honor for me to be able to be in this body, and be able to do the things, but mostly be able to encourage. That's why I love helping people too, to be able to encourage and have them to be able to have somebody, because I didn't have that, to be able to come when they come to me and talk to me and they want me to mentor them or they ask me questions. It's a blessing, and to be able to have somebody gonna give them good, honest critiques and advice. So don't look at it as you getting old or something that's to be scared of. It's something to be honored because it's wisdom.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying it's a lot of wisdom that you've been through. You have a lot of experience that you can share with people, just like they used to share with us when we were growing up. So it's a wonderful thing. So go in it with pride, and because I gotta tell people, they be like, "You old." I'm like, "You better wish you get to my age."
That part. What you say?
You better wish you get this old.
I'm an OG at this point.
Yes, yes.
What
So,
they call you OG.
so congratulations for turning, well, you 49, but into your journey. Congratulations, because you're doing great things for people, and you're gonna do greater things because it's more. You're just gonna create more knowledge.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I'm
get
a
more
try.
knowledgeable and more wisdom. Yep.
And
So I mean,
correction.
like you said, that was
I'm sorry, I said I'm a try. I'm like correction, sis. No,
Oh,
I'm a
I'm
do.
like, you might as well do it. But I mean, you're already doing it. I mean, and sometimes, like you said, you got younger people that's gonna inspire you. Being 50 don't mean you know everything.
Yep.
It's so much stuff we still need to learn, and so many things we still need to do. Some people are gonna do it before us, and that's the thing. Our children are supposed to supersede our, the thing. That's what we're raising them up to do.
Right.
Is to be better than us. That's what that. Otherwise, we ain't did our jobs right.
Right.
We shouldn't be in competition with them. We want them to not, get the houses that we had, get cars, get the wealth and the things, and then we could teach them how about their bodies. Nobody taught me to honor my body either. Okay. You see what I'm saying? A lot of my aunties and my mama died from some type of disease. Either it was cancer, lupus, digestive things with their digestive system. Like they all died from some type of ailment. You see what I'm saying? So nobody talked to me about keeping my body healthy. The thing that encouraged me about that is I had kids. Mm-hmm. So I just say I'm happy for you. You looking good.
Thank you. You too. You too.
Thank you, but you, girl, that's just a small little mark on a notch that you was about to accomplish. And I mean, you're gonna do it well, and you're gonna be looking beautiful. You're gonna be healthy, and you're gonna be a mentor.
Thank you, and you as well. And we will keep pushing. Right? We will keep pushing. We'll keep growing. We will just enjoy the now, because we can't do nothing about the past. We can't control the future. Mm-hmm. We have to exist right freaking now and just take advantage of everything that's happening right now and do the absolute best we can with it.
And don't be telling yourself old. Don't say that, because I ain't old. I'm like, I ain't old. I don't know. You could be old by yourself.
We're not old. We are better, right? Better. Yes. And so thank you, sis. Thank you. And I got a special thank you for you too. But to wrap it up, right? This is my last stanza about faith. So to have faith is to trust what the seen world denies. Mm-hmm. And to move in rhythm with a cosmic intelligence, God, basically. Mm-hmm. To me, there's no other intelligence that is always working on my behalf, even when the path is dark. Mm-hmm. When something is a lesson meant for me to be taught, because there's a soul contract, there's a reason why I'm here, and everything for me is not peaches and cream. And I understand that some of the things that I experience and encounter is at my own hand, is because I caused it, or I attracted it, or whatever. Yes. Some things is karma, some things I attract, some things are, and I'm okay, and I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And I will continue to be exactly who I am. So when the path is dark, the answer is unclear, and the timing is not mine, I will still have faith. And I cannot detour from that. Yes. From that at all. Whew. So that sums up our faith. And look, I saved my last little sip.
Oh, girl, I'm done. Well, I didn't. Two of them I didn't do the whole thing because I knew because like I said, I got to drive, so I'm and I started feeling it after the second bottle. After the white wine.
And I am in the 11 o'clock hour, so I got an hour before May 22nd, and I'm officially 49. Yes. And I'm now on the road to 50. So thank you so much, Keisha, for being here.
Thank you for having me. Happy birthday. I do hope you enjoy everything.
And I love you, sis. And telling your truth, which takes courage, because you shared some things about your thoughts and feelings. And don't y'all mess with my friend listening to this damn recording and want to be just. That's her truth, is her feelings, just like everybody has into. And listen, she says the thing the rest of y'all with no courage, right? She's gonna say it. It's just who she is. And guess what? She'll see change. And you won't. So you can be judgmental if you want to. You can get offended. You can walk in the fence, take it the wrong way. I know she's loving light, and I know she'll give anybody the shirt off of her back, no matter what color you are, what denomination, what race, what gender. It's just who she is. But when we talk of trauma, she should be able to tell her truth. So if you stay this long and you hear my voice, don't come on here talking that shit, because we reject it, we deny it. You can go to somebody else's podcast with that bullshit. So at the end of the day, sis, I thank you for being here. I love you. I thank you for being a real woman, a genuine friend, and an amazing business partner. Now, for those who are still with us, sis, some of them hung in there with us to this bitter end, and I appreciate it.
Hey, that's what's up.
It's a Wednesday night.
Thank y'all for listening to me.
Yes. So we offer an opportunity to host your own Wealth, Wicks, and Wine group event, right? So candlelit conversations about building wealth, business, and other financial matters. There's an investment because, listen, one of the lessons that I learned in life, I'll be 49 and it's 12 o'clock midnight. I'm 49 years old, right? Listen, May 22nd hits. I don't talk for free no more. If you have an outstanding invoice, I'm going to expect that. I need you to run me my money. Otherwise, I have an attorney locked and loaded and ready to sue your candy ass, because this is not that. Yes. Moving on in the future, boundaries are set, and I strive to be a great person. Right. And I promise to treat other people right, with love, and be upright and whatever. Right. So those who know, right. It's not that. So there's a $250 deposit, because I've experienced already me packing up all my wines, my glasses, my activities, my time. You don't buy bottles. You don't book anything. You don't. And leaving out of there tipsy and feeling good, then got a good sample. Listen, patronize. Yes. So I don't do free wine tastings anymore. You're going to have to invest in my time and my sampling set, period. Right? It's $250 for your own Wealth, Wicks, and Wine experience. And if you don't have a space, I have one. Okay. It includes wine tasting, financial and business topics, and other activities. What we did here tonight is just a snippet of what I do. I do keep it business and financial only. Keisha and I, number one, that's my big sister, so we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. This is my birthday. This is my sister friend, and we can do that. But with Wealth, Wicks, and Wine, we're talking about business and finance only, and the advancement of women in a positive light. Follow and connect. We are on Facebook and Instagram. I am on LinkedIn under Chantel Taylor. Also, this is a YouTube channel, so this is streaming live on YouTube. Like and subscribe to the channel, right? And then book with Keisha. Remember to win your free bottle of wine. Don't forget to schedule a life insurance appointment and get coverage, because we're not giving things away. In my next chapter and on my road to 50, I'm still loving light. I'm still a giver, but there are boundaries. Yeah. I've experienced and I've gone through a lot, and it's time out. So listen, you have to book and write business. Okay. And we don't write business just because of the hell of it, because we do like to, but we don't write it for that reason. It is really genuinely supposed to help and give back to the families and businesses that we serve. So you do business with her, you need to keep it. Yeah. Be a person of your word. Honor it. Be a person of integrity. And if you can't keep it, we understand, because times are hard and things come up. But do your very best, because we're giving you our best, right? Yeah. So to contact Keisha, you call our office at 262-788-9999. We are conveniently located right in the heart of the city, 2745 North Martin Luther King Drive in Suite 203E in Milwaukee. And so also, right, if you liked any of the samplings, also empty. The glass is empty.
You ain't wrong. It's your birthday, girl. Listen.
And everything was amazing and good. But if you liked it, this was the not the sweet. This was your sampling of dry and semi-dry, and it was good wine. This is good wine. This is not, Boom Farm or something that you can go get for $2. If that's what you like, I don't have a judgment for you, but you're not gonna find it here. And then I am a wine guide for Wells, for Wines for Humanity. So this organization, when you buy wine, they literally give back to the world, to the community, to the nation. So to nonprofits that are mission based and doing great things in our communities nationwide, some of them worldwide. So when you buy, you are really supporting great things. Okay, you could go to www.wealthwickswine.com. Click the tabs. Crystal Tucker designed my website. She helps me. She manages this podcast for me, this platform. She does content creation. So shout out to Crystal. I love you and I thank you for all that you do. But Crystal designed that website to where it's easy to navigate. So if you want wine, click wine. If you want to buy this nice Farkandi candle, right, beautiful and blessed, and it's still lit, so you know that we don't just make trash, you can order it. And if you want to schedule, if you want to host a wine tasting, you can get in touch with me and you can let me know that, and we can go ahead and schedule some time to do a small intimate session, and it incorporates the candlelit conversations, candle and lit conversations about building wealth, business, and other financial matters. So I thank you all for being here. Thank you for birthday wishes, well wishes, wisdom. I know some of you couldn't stay. For those of you who did, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Sis, thank you for taking time out. I know it's the middle of the work week. I love you so much. Thank you for my pre-birthday celebration gifts. And yo, I see everything. And your birthday is next. When you love me, I love you back. When you treat me right, I treat you right back.
All right.
And pitiful. So I got to get off of here. But I thank y'all. I love y'all. And this is Wealth, Wicks, and Wine. Follow us, like, subscribe. Right. The end.
All right. Thank you. Thank everybody that came out to listen and stayed. Thanks for having me as a host. I appreciate it. It was nice. I mean, we could have kept going. We'd have went over. We'd have kept going. But maybe another time, on another topic or something, we can do it again.
Yes.
So until then, everybody sleep well. If you got to drive, be safe, and have a great night.
Have a good night, everybody.
I love you too, sis.
Love you.
All right.